Hey, Adam. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, an unlikely movie star and documentarian, Matt Walsh. I mean, it's funny. I don't know if you'd envision. I mean, What is a Woman is great, and it really started a conversation and sort of began a turning point. And then Am I Racist came out, and that continued the conversation on a separate subject. By the way, available on Daily Wire Plus. Is this what you thought adult life was going to be for you, or what were you envisioning when you were like in high school?
Yeah, probably not this. I got sorry, good way to start. I started in radio back in my early 20s, and I'm 38 now. So I think for most of my adult life, I had kind of imagined, the broadcasting trajectory, and of course that's taken some weird turns and all that, as you get into podcasting and everything. But the idea of seriously considering doing movies didn't really occur to me until really probably 3 or 4 years ago, when the Daily Wire announced that they were getting into movies, which I didn't know. I've been working at Daily Wire for a couple of years when they made the big announcement. I think it was back in 2020 that they're getting into movies, and I didn't know that was going to happen. And as soon as they announced that, I just thought, well, if they're doing movies, I work here, so I need to start coming up with some movie ideas. And that kind of took me off in a direction I wasn't expecting.
And they're both themes that we've experienced in the last few years, very recently, sort of historically. There's COVID, there's Black Lives Matters, there's, the trans movement, all things that they immediately captured society with, and somehow, whether, very different subjects, COVID versus the trans movement versus Black Lives Matter, they immediately captured society and took regular people and made them scared and fearful to talk about things that were sort of obvious and that they knew or didn't or disagreed with. And it was really it should be studied, and future generations should study this, because you've essentially said there's a thing that doesn't really seem like it's happening that most Americans don't believe in, and then immediately captured everyone and got them to go along with it, which is pretty insane in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and they all kind of captured society around the same time, too. I mean,
yes,
these things obviously pre-existed, but BLM came about, I think its technical birthplace was really before Ferguson. I mean, it'd been around since I think like 2012 or 2013, but 2020 was the big year when it, in a very literal sense, exploded, and a bunch of U.S. Cities and neighborhoods went along with it. Same for the trans phenomenon. I mean, you could go back to the mid 20th century to find the beginning of that. You go even further, but you can go back to the end of the 19th century. But same kind of deal, that around that same time is when it exploded into public consciousness, and it was everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then of course we know COVID as well. It's the same thing. So I don't know, when you talk about studying that's part of the study is, well, what is it about that period in history, that particular time, 17 to 2021, that made society so especially susceptible to all of these social contagions exploding simultaneously almost?
Yeah, and in terms of marketing, it was sort of akin to saying, look, we're going to need everyone in America to love the Carolina Panthers. And then someone goes, well, they don't win that much, and they haven't won any Super Bowls. Why do we just do it? And then next thing you know, everyone's walking around wearing a Panthers jersey. And then I stand up and go, well, I'm a Rams fan. And then I get pulled down off the internet. And it's sort of like, how did it happen so fast? And how did they convert people? And by the way, the people wearing the Panthers jerseys weren't even Panthers fans. They just put the jersey on because they were scared and pretended to like it. It's really a phenomenon. Like, the number of people that are really down with the Black Lives Matter and or the trans and or even COVID was minuscule compared to the reaction they had. And then it became, you go back and you look at some of these photographs, like you see all the Congress people led by Pelosi with the African prayer shawl on, all taking a knee in the rotunda. And it's very comical now when you get a little bit of distance from it and go, what are these ass kissers doing over George Floyd, the felon? But it pow, worked. Dangerous and scary, but kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you said about people, pretending to go along with it because they're scared, I think that does explain a lot of this. And I was thinking about this the other day because there was, I forget what it was. It was Taylor Lorenz, the crazy whack job journalist who I think was with the Washington Post, and now she's doing whatever, Substack or something. But anyway, there was some post that went viral of her from this past week, in the year 2024, almost 2025, talking about how she was doing a book launch and she wanted to be COVID safe and everybody had to wear masks and all this. And she said that people who don't wear masks are, quote, raw dogging the air. And I'm looking at this and it kind of, for me, it raised a question, which is, obviously she's insane. We don't have to explain why you're still wearing a mask in 2020. It's crazy. But my question was, why aren't there more people like her? Because if you had asked me in 2022, in fact, in 2022, or say 2021, walking around these cities and seeing all these people masking, I thought at the time that all these people, their brains had been broken, and that 10 years from now, half of the country would still be wearing masks because their brain had just been destroyed. But it turns out that it's only just a small amount. Like Taylor Lorenz, her brain was totally broken, and it would probably never be made. Her brain was never great to begin with, but it was completely destroyed by COVID. So it's almost like, considering how many people were compliant with it and went along with it, I don't know if I'd prefer to think that they all had their brains broken, or if actually everybody knew it was nonsense and it was pure obedience the whole time. And at the time, I didn't think that. I didn't think it was pure obedience. I thought that people actually were terrified. But now I'm starting to see that it was probably like 95% pure obedience, and people actually weren't that scared. So I think you're right about that. And it also applies to, as you said, BLM and even a lot of this.
It's the exact same part of everyone's brain. It's not that there is a big difference between the trans movement, BLM, and COVID, but it hits that receptor in all the obedience people's brains the exact same way. It feels the same. BLM speaking out against George Floyd or BLM would have felt exactly the same as speaking out against COVID or vaccinations, and that would have felt exactly the same as speaking out against the trans movement during the time when it was at its zenith. So people, you say obedient, which they are, but I don't think they're being obedient to the rule makers. You drive from LA to Vegas, you get out on the open highway, everyone's doing 105 miles an hour. That they're going 25 miles an hour faster than the speed limit, or 30 miles an hour. People are not obedient when it comes to rules, but they're obedient when it comes to other people in traffic. And we can ignore the mayor, and we can ignore the CDC, and we can ignore the governor, but we can't ignore all our neighbors. And those are that's what kept people in line.
Yeah, I think that's right. And that also explains why when the fever breaks, it seems to break pretty quickly. And talking about how these social contagions seem to either came out of nowhere in terms of COVID, or they really exploded on the scene all at the same time. They're also kind of being dismantled, at the same time in a very rapid succession. And I think it's exactly what you're saying, it's just the domino effect. It just takes a couple of people to give you cover. It takes a couple of people to stand up and say, this is crazy, I'm not doing this. And then it starts to give everybody else cover. And we certainly, look, with the trans thing, I've said before, when we were making What is a Woman, and this was back 3 years ago when we were actually in production on it, going around to these different cities around the country and talking about this issue, not just with the so-called experts, but also with the people on the street, the average American. And I distinctly remember that experience of walking around these cities, talking to people. Simple questions like, what is a woman? Is it okay to have men in the women's locker room? Should we sterilize and castrate children? Those kind of questions. Really simple, easy questions. And I can distinctly remember how difficult it was to find anyone who would get on camera and say, no, that's crazy. We're not doing that. No, you don't treat kids that way. No, of course, if you're a man, you don't belong in a women's room. A woman is a female. It was very difficult to do, but I could tell just by talking to them, especially off camera, it's like they know the answer. They're just afraid to say it.
Yes.
But once a few people just very unapologetically stood up and said, this is crazy. We all know this is crazy. This is nuts, guys. And then it kind of gave everybody else permission. And now I think if I went and did the exact same thing again, and I went to the exact same cities, exact same street corners, asked the exact same questions, I think it would be flipped. It'd be like 95% are giving me the right answers, whereas before it was 95% the other way, because that's just how quickly the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, it takes a few courageous people to sort of poke their head up and get a little traction, and then it becomes a movement in the other direction that happens as fast as it happened their direction several years ago. Here's a hypothetical, and Dawson, you can find Taylor Lorenz talking about raw dog in the air. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's a clip or a tweet, was it?
I think it was a tweet.
Oh, okay, we can find that. So here's may make this point, but I'd be curious what your take on it would be. The first election where Trump was voted in as president, for the sake of argument, we'll just say he got 60 million votes. Out of that 60 million, what percentage of people back then would say out loud that they voted for Trump? I think it would be less than 50%. I think there were a lot of Moranos and a lot of real quiet, closeted, I'm not going to admit it thing. Then he got elected 6 weeks ago, reelected. For the sake of argument, we'll say 60 million people again, even though it was more. I think a much higher percentage of people would say they voted for Trump this time around than the first time around. So something changed. People's fear level, and they're being persecuted is what they fear. Being ostracized is really what they fear. We talk about taking away your job, but it's more that being ostracized, being sort of shunned. We don't want to be shunned. One of our strongest sort of instinct is not to be shunned. And that's how all of this worked.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I don't know if there's any way to quantify that, but how many? I certainly agree that many more people this time around would admit that they voted for him. Admit it proudly, or I think even more significant, not even the people that are super proud about it, but it's just like, yeah, I voted for him. I voted for him, whatever. I voted for him, it's fine. Because, you've always had the diehard Trumpers that had the MAGA hats and all that, but I think the kind of people in the middle who support Trump aren't necessarily wearing a MAGA hat, aren't going to the rallies. The people in that crowd, that has grown, and also the people that are willing to admit they're in that crowd has grown as well. Part of that is, and this goes back to the other three things we talked about, that the narrative is unsustainable. Part of the problem for the left is that I think that leftism has been lying to Americans and lying to people for decades. But over the last 10 years or so, the lies that they're telling that they expect you to believe are so outrageous and so contradict what we can all see in front of our faces that it just can't last that long. It's just not sustainable. I think a kind of lower grade lie is a lot more sustainable. You get people to accept it for a lot longer. But these days, it's like, men can have babies. COVID's going to kill you if you don't wear a mask. It's okay when mobs of people are burning down neighborhoods. And on Donald Trump, rather than them just say, oh, he's a bad president, you're criticizing him in the terms people always criticize politicians. He's literally Hitler. He is Hitler incarnate. That's the lie they want you to accept. And the fact is, it just wears off. People, you cannot convince people to pretend they believe that for 8 years. I mean, maybe for that first election you could, but now you can't.
No, I agree. It's too egregious. It's like a Ponzi scheme versus other ways of removing money from people's pockets, meaning it's like you have to borrow money from other investors to pay off the other, like it'll fall apart fast. It's too aggressive versus some membership you signed up for some cable thing that just takes $9 out of your bank account every month, and it's been 7 years and you don't even notice. You're not even looking for it. This is too big, like too bold, too aggressive. And yeah, the asks, they used to sort of say things like they'd go, well, look, these immigrants who come here illegally actually add more to society than they take. They pay taxes and they do work that we don't want to do. And they don't commit crime at as high a rate. And we kind of went like, yeah, okay, yeah. But then it became an open border flood, people sleeping in the streets in downtown Chicago. And it just came, it's funny because if I were in charge of them and I would have, and it was 10 years ago, I would have said, look, we got a pretty good thing going here. We have most Americans sort of agreeing with us and a little bit scared to disagree with us. Now, when you start yelling, all cops are killers and trying to open up the bathroom so boys could use the girls' room, biological boys, and have them play on the volleyball team, we're going to lose people. It's too crazy. It's like it's too much. So let's just slow and steady wins the race. I don't know why they got so far over their skis. Like they made, Bill Maher just go, you guys are batshit crazy. I'm not going along with a lot of this. This is nuts. Like they turned him out. He was a staunch supporter and ally. Now in the last several years, I've heard him talking more crap about the Democratic Party, and he never had to if they would have just sort of kept it in some sort of reasonable lane. But they got so insane that sort of basic, pragmatic thinking people just kind of went, well, look, I could go pretty far in this direction, but I can't go full-blown nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the race stuff is probably the quintessential example of this, because if you go back 10, 15 years ago, the left, the basic leftist narrative is basically what it is now, that although just not as extreme, but the narratives, cops are kind of racist, this country is systemically racist, maybe not as bad as it used to be, but it still is. Like that was kind of the narrative. And I think probably 15 years ago, it was kind of generally accepted. Like, and certainly in mainstream culture, it was. Any movie or show that had anything to do with cops, you'd always find that in it, but in a slightly more subtle way. And so I think their narrative had sort of been cemented. But then we get to George Floyd, and then I think it was, if we had to point to one thing, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened with George Floyd that was egregious, but then they came around and said, defund the police. And that was the moment when even a lot of people on the left said, well, wait a minute, you get rid of the police? So we can't do that. That's crazy. And in a certain way, it was a logical progression from the basic premise of leftism, which is that cops are systemically racist and they're out, killing black people. And if that's true, which it isn't, but if it is, then okay, you can kind of see how when you follow the thread, you get eventually to, I guess there shouldn't be cops anymore. So I think the flaw in the logic was always there. They just hadn't followed it. This is what the slippery slope is. This is why people on the right for decades have been talking about the slippery slope. Look, one thing leads to another. If you accept this premise, eventually it leads to that. Eventually it leads to that. And conservatives have been totally right about the slippery slope. We were told it's a fallacy. It's not. But this is exactly what we were saying. We were saying, well, look, if you accept this, here's what that, then you have no reason to not accept this thing, which means why don't you accept this? And then eventually leads to full-blown insanity, which is what we've seen. Essentially, we've seen kind of the bottom of the slippery slope, the abyss that lays at the bottom of the slippery slope on all these different issues. and we kind of arrived there at the same time. And then that's one of the problems I have with some of these leftists who say, who say, well, the left left me and they've gone too far. And okay, I can see why you would say that, and I appreciate anybody who comes out and is reasonable. But at the same time, look, guys, we told you. We told you 15 years ago this is where it was going to go. It's actually not that shocking. We kind of, but you didn't listen. We were trying to tell you, you didn't listen. Because a lot of this ultimately was foreseeable, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And you have to kind of first try to figure out motivation. Like, what is it they want? Is it chaos? Is it nihilism? Is it sort of the destruction of society as we know it? And I don't know, like, what AOC wants exactly. Now, what I'm saying is they start by saying whether it's the LGBT community or the Black Lives Matter, right? They start in some place. You have to start in a reasonable, logical place to begin your discussions, So you go, we want to be treated equally, whether we're black or whether we're gay. We don't want the days of a separate hotel for the black musicians to stay in and another one for white musicians to stay in. We don't want two different drinking fountains. And as a gay couple, I would like to be married and have it recognized by the state and be afforded all the same benefits that a heterosexual couple would receive. And I would like to be treated just as an American, not as a gay American. And then people like me go, well, that sounds very reasonable. That all sounds reasonable. So that's their stated goal. At some point, it turns into drag queen story hour, and we want you to pay reparations for BLM, and we'd like to paint BLM in this every intersection in America, and George Floyd is a hero and a martyr. And then normal people like me go, well, wait a minute. No. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for the part where you didn't have to stay in a separate hotel and you were treated fairly and with dignity and afforded all the rights that white people or heterosexual people. That's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for your son using my daughter's locker room in junior high. That I didn't sign up for. So the question is that all they ever wanted? And if so, why do they always slide into the insane abyss? When like at some point, Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, is saying, I'll do press conferences, but only with black reporters. And you're like, that is not what we started with. We started with one drinking fountain, not separate, not discriminating against Asians at UCLA so more black kids could get in. That's not what we talked about. We talked about normal, rational, reasonable stuff. You guys won't stop. And the question is what do you truly want? Because if it's not what you said you wanted at the beginning.
Yeah, I think, you have to. Part of what complicates this is that we're talking about several different kind of movements that have now converged into one thing that we would call leftism or wokeism or whatever, but have not always been the same thing. So I would, taking, for example, the civil rights, racial civil rights, you go back 70, 80, 90 years, that was a movement that wanted particular things, to your point, and the things that it wanted were certainly quite reasonable and correct. But and then you compare that for, let's say if we would take the LGBT, quote unquote, LGBT rights movement, and you go back to the 90s. Now I would argue that with so-called LGBT rights, that the fundamental goal all along has been to treat the nuclear family, what they would call heteronormative families and societal structure, to kind of dismantle it and get rid of it because they see it as an evil. Now, that's that. But over here with civil rights and racial, racial equality and all that, that was not part of the goal 70, 80 years ago. But here's what happens. If you have a good and reasonable goal, which is, we shouldn't have to have separate drinking fountains, et cetera. Well, once you achieve it, once that's happened, well, it's like, well, you won. It's over now. Let's go live our lives. We could put that behind us now. It's over. But then once it's achieved, and then you look, and it's like the movement is still here, and it hasn't gone away. Well, they don't want that anymore because that already happened. And so then you start questioning. Well, now this has become something else entirely now. And I think we found that with BLM. I mean, because then it became, you look back on BLM's website a few years ago, and I think they took it down, but they had kind of their pillars, their agenda items. They had it laid out. It was very explicit. And one of them was something like dismantling the patriarchy or stuff like that. It's like, what does that have to do with racial? What does that have to do with anything that you're supposed to be about? Well, because all these movements have converged, and they're now basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, whatever the ACLU was 50 years ago and what they were conceived for does not resemble who they are today in any of these groups. So it's an interesting phenomenon. I always just put it this way, Matt. I just said it's called a progressive movement. What part of that title suggests it's ever slowing down or stopping? It's got progress and movement right in the title. It's going to just keep rolling. It doesn't matter how absurd it gets. That's what it does. And what it will do, though, is ultimately these people have no convictions. They're greedy and mostly cowards. So they'll immediately change on a dime. Kamala Harris wanted to end fracking and have folks in prison transition. And the second she heard that nobody liked that idea, she immediately just gave it up, but conveniently said she still stands on her principles, even though she's changed and modified her standing on everything. So they will immediately abandon these things. At least politicians will, for sure, especially if it means they're never going to get elected.
And once it's not useful to them anymore. I mean, the Kamala Harris campaign, maybe, and we can't say this with any definitive certainty now, but maybe the history books will pinpoint that as sort of the true beginning of the end for wokeness, for at least this iteration of what we call wokeness, because of what you just said, that she just kind of abandoned wholesale all of these things because she recognized you can't get elected on it. The trans issue is a big one. I mean, Trump was running ads on the trans issue, hitting it from the right, and rightfully so, and that ended up being, very compelling. It's one of the things that swung the swing voters in his direction. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, she didn't want to talk about it. You go back 4 years, and if you're a Democrat politician, you're bringing up trans rights any chance you get because it was perceived as a popular thing, a popular position. But how many times did she, on her own, unprompted, ever bring up trans rights at all? I mean, I don't know if she did one time. It was only when she was asked about it, which she wasn't asked about it very often, by the way, because the media recognized that this was embarrassing for her, right. So they did her a favor by not bringing it up. But that really kind of tells you something. That tells you that where the country is.
Do you think I'm gonna tease this? I got a question I think you'll find intriguing. I've never thought about it before, but you're uniquely qualified to answer it. But I'll tease it. Am I Racist? Is the name of the film. It's very good. I saw it. I should tell you, I was almost bit by a rattlesnake when I saw it. It's available on Daily Wire. Matt Walsh is with us. We'll take a quick break. Come right back with Matt. Beaming in from Daily Wire headquarters in Nashville, Tennessee. Am I Racist? Name of the film. Available, Daily Wire. So I'll give you a thought, and then I want to get into this Variety publication hit piece on you and the Oscars and Am I Racist? The trans subject that we're talking about quite a bit in our dialogue, it doesn't affect that many people statistically. And some of the arguments I hear from folks on the left, and they always kind of, it's funny, I'll hear Howard Stern do this, like they always oversimplify it. They go, what do you care if that couple's gay? Like, what do you care if that couple is? And they go, I don't care. By the way, that would make me a bigot. I don't care, or at least obsessed with gay relationships. I'm just talking about materials and books that might be distributed in school libraries. That's something I would think about, but I don't care if the person, there's a gay couple lives across the street. They always twist it a little bit to make you just a little bit homophobic and racist and everything else, and then self-congratulate, them, because they're the evolved of the two of us. The trans movement, to me, when people push back against the trans movement, they're not doing it from a pragmatic standpoint per se. I have kids. They're twins. They're 18. They're not trans. They don't have friends that are trans. They're very happy to be a boy and a girl. Thank God. I think most Americans push back on it, just like when Kamala Harris doesn't want to talk about it, it stands as a metaphor for you being batshit crazy and wanting to usher in a whole bunch of other stuff that's equally crazy that I don't want. It's defund the police is right up there with the whole trans stuff, which is, it's a crazy idea, and I think you're probably for both of them. And you're against, fracking and a stout border and all the other stuff I want. So it's become kind of a metaphor for America to push back against, not because we inherently don't like trans or that we think it's going to even affect us.
Yes. And so I'll answer that, but I'll back up a second just to this, because I hear the same thing all the time, of course. This doesn't affect you. This doesn't affect you. Why do you care? And really my first response to that always is, well, there's a few things. Number one, the people saying that, they actually want us to care a lot. They just want us to care a certain way and come to certain conclusions.
Right.
And which is why, the LGBT, they say, why do you care? But then you're doing pride parades in the street. You're walking down the street with the banners and flags. I mean, you made a flag to your sexuality. You're literally waving a flag. You obviously want us to care. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing that. But you want us to agree with you while we care. So that's really your issue. And second, I think even if I were to agree, it doesn't really affect me. Isn't that what, so basically they are promoting is being self-interested, being selfish. I mean, isn't the definition of being selfish is I don't care about anything unless it affects me personally? So the definition of being unselfish is you care about things even if they don't personally affect you. So there's that. But on this issue, I think that you're right, that there are people, obviously, especially if you're a parent, me as 6 kids. So I have a reason to be invested in the trans issue. I don't want my own kids to get indoctrinated into this nonsense. And I look at the horror stories of other parents whose kids have fallen into it, and it's like suffering the death of a child. I mean, you lose your child in a very real sense, and then oftentimes because of how this goes, you might lose them in the physical sense also. So you do have that kind of very immediate personal reason to care, but even if you take that out of it, yes, people just don't. Even if they wouldn't necessarily articulate it this way, a lot of them would, but even if they don't. People don't want to forfeit truth itself. It's just it's one of the it's what makes the life.
Yeah, I think for the folks who resist it, they see it as a eerie harbinger of a possible crazy future that we don't want any part of. That the same people who think this is a good idea are now going to be in charge of taxes and the border and energy production, and I don't want anything in the military, and I don't want them. So it's like sort of It's like when I drive around L.A. and once in a while you see a guy and his car is filled with garbage, newspapers, up at fast food wrappers up on the dash. The car's a mess. I go, I know everything about that person from driving next to them on the 101 for 15 seconds. I know their apartment's a mess. I know they're a mess. I know they're mentally not there. You know what I mean? I don't need to follow them home and see where they live. I get it. I got a snapshot. It's junk all over the dash of their crazy. I can tell they're crazy from being outside of their car. And if this is a big thing for you, then I can tell you I don't want you governing me. It has really nothing to do with trans. It's everything else. And for them, I think it's them going, if we can push this along, if we can get them to believe them, then everything's on the table. Because this is the craziest of all.
Well, it's also, there are a lot of things people say that aren't true. And you could walk by some crazy guy on the sidewalk who's declaring that he's, Queen Elizabeth or whatever. And I'm not going to get into an argument with him to convince him that he's not, because that is an example of, doesn't affect me at all. There's no greater thing going on here. There's just one crazy person saying something crazy. I can move on with my time. But when an untruth, when you've got powerful forces in society insisting on the untruth, telling you, you have to believe it, well, then that tells you something. That tells you can't just ignore this. And if you go along with it, then you've just sacrificed truth at a really fundamental level. It's like, look, geometry is not something I walk around thinking about all the time. But if all of a sudden there was some movement afoot in academia and in the media and in Hollywood to tell us all that squares are circles, or that the two shapes are the same actually, and there's no difference, then even though I haven't spent any time thinking about shapes and it doesn't seem to affect my life all that much, it's like, well, okay, well now I guess I have to have this argument because you guys, as the powerful forces in society, as the institutions, are insisting that I have to accept this. And it's just, I didn't decide for this to be a big fight, yes. But I live in a world where squares and circles are different things. And you're
yes.
telling me for some reason that I have to pretend I don't notice that. And sort of to your point, I have to, now I'm like, well, okay, why do you want me to accept this so much? You're up to something here.
Yes.
Well, so I just can't go along.
My theory is that it's more grievance than it is the subject matter. They're sort of anybody who's been in a bad relationship can tell you that when the other partner sort of gets into the grievance mode, there's really nothing, you could surprise them with tickets to Maui for the Christmas break, and they would find a way to argue with you later on that night. As a matter of fact, what I've found from a sort of psychological standpoint, which is when somebody when they have grievance, when what's propelling them is grievance, not we need equity or equality or we need rights or we need to be treated or dignity or seat at the table. That's what they say. They can't say we're grievance-based. BLM is grievance-based. They say we want this, they say we want that, but every time you turn your head, they're lashing out about something and it seems more and more insane. So the question is, just like the relationship, the marriage that's going bad, is this person really want these things, or are they really just angry at you and lashing out? And I think most of what we're discussing are grievance-based groups. And that's, by the way, why they get so angry and so agitated. And the grievance groups, once they get what they wanted, they got Obama. They got 2 terms of Obama. BLM got 2 terms of a black president. They have to up their game. They went harder in the grievance paint once they started getting their way.
Right, because they can never they can never win, because if they win, then the grievance is over, and this has also been leftism. I think it's the defining feature of leftism is when you say grievance, this is why in leftist circles the word dismantle is used. It's like the only place where you can go where they use the word dismantle as a positive.
Right.
Anywhere else, it's like dismantling things is generally not what we want to do. But they want to, that's what they want to do. They want to dismantle, and not just dismantle anything, not dismantle things that aren't working, but rather dismantle the things that not only are working, but that society is built on. They want to dismantle those things like the family. And not because they have any great plan for what to do in its place, but just because they have a grievance. They just hate that thing. They hate it. And they've blamed that, whatever it is, for all their problems and their own unhappiness. And so their solution is just destroy it.
Yeah, I think there's a dynamic that runs deeper that I did Loveline for a decade, and I sat next to Dr. Drew, and I talked to angry teenagers, and a lot of angry teenage girls in particular. And they were angry at their dad because their dad abandoned them and didn't love them and possibly abused them. And they had this it works for males and females, but females don't do as good a job of hiding it as males do once they go out into society. But they had a problem with male authority figures, and they wanted to lash out against that authority. Now, it was really a sort of micro problem. It's between them and their dad, or them and their stepdad, who never showed them affection, or whatever it is. But at some point, they became an adult and got a job at an airport. And then when I started coming down through security, I became that authority figure. I became that male authority figure. And society is that. It's the man. It's the authority. I mean, Donald Trump is a poster child for white male authority figure. Rich, white, male, heterosexual, whatever. The Trump derangement syndrome is a lashing out against that. It's not like I disagree with some of his policies. It's a crazed, which started because your dad abandoned you and left and moved to Florida with his younger secretary, never sent you a stuffed animal for Christmas. So I think some of it is a dynamic, like a deeper psychodynamic that has to do with the sort of parental issues, and especially a matriarch. They always want to get rid of the matriarchy, right? Women who love their dads and respect the shit out of their dads don't want to destroy the matriarchy, or the patriarchy, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know you've been talking about this forever, but the fatherless, it doesn't. I mean, we don't want to get too Freudian and all that. There's other things going on, but I think we look at the rise of leftism, especially this kind of radical leftism, and you can also track, the rise of fatherlessness through the decades, and then look at where those kids are now, how old they are. What do you know? Those are all the green-haired weirdos running around saying destroy the family and burn the cities and all that. So there's certainly a connection there, which is a good thing for people, those of us who are fathers, to know that, look, you can't. I mean, your kids are going to grow older. They're going to make choices. They might make bad choices. It can't all be on you. You can't literally control what they do and say. But if you just raise your kids, and no one does it perfectly, but if you raise your kids and you actually love them, and you care about the kinds of people they turn into, and you spend some energy on not just their physical safety, but their moral formation, if you do that, which is kind of bare minimum, the chances are really good that your kids won't turn into one of those people, at least.
Agreed. Now, Variety has a headline hot off the presses about you submitting "Am I Racist?" which is interesting, and we'll read it to you. Matt Walsh is a hypocrite for submitting "Am I Racist?" to the Oscars. Why are right-wingers seeking liberal validation? I also don't know why publications who are there to report on entertainment have to out themselves constantly as sort of left-wing rags, but I guess that's where we're at. How say you, Matt Walsh?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that are funny about it, and first of all, they're basically admitting. I mean, they're acknowledging, I guess, that according to them, Hollywood is for the left, and the Oscars are an award meant for leftists. It's a very insular club. That's what they're saying. Now, our point is, and in fact, there's a line in there, I don't remember what it is exactly, but the writer says something like, "Oh, so does Matt Walsh think that the Oscars have to prove, their credibility by considering his film for a nomination?" And the answer is, yeah, basically. Now, I'm not saying that the Oscars have no credibility if they don't give us an Oscar, but if we can't even be considered, if we can't even be in the running to be considered maybe for a nomination, if we aren't treated as a credible possibility, then yes, that would mean by definition that the Academy Awards are a fully insular left. It's not actually meant to award the best movie. It's just meant to award the movies that are ideologically aligned with, the mainstream Hollywood political position, which would mean, and that's, if you want to have an award ceremony like that, you're perfectly allowed to do that, but that's what that would mean. So it's just kind of interesting that we get this reaction, especially when, look, Am I Racist was the top grossing documentary in the box office of the decade. And does that mean that, again, that alone is a reason why it should be awarded, the best documentary at the Oscars? No. I mean, there's plenty of movies that make a ton of money. I'm not saying that every Marvel movie, they all make $1 billion. Should they all win Best Picture? No. But when you have a movie that is by far and away the most successful film in its genre, then of course it should be at least considered for an award. There's nothing absurd about the creators of that film submitting it and saying, "Hey guys, we made this film, we're proud of it. It was super successful. Check it out. Consider us too." So you wouldn't think that would be an absurd thing for us to do, or certainly it's not something that's worth, a hit piece. It shouldn't even be newsworthy, really. The attitude should be, well, of course they submitted it. Why wouldn't they? Obviously they did. But these are people that believe that, although they usually won't say it out loud, they believe that, no, you know what? The Oscars are for us. Hollywood is ours. And not just that, movies in general, the art of movie making is ours, is what people like this say, people that wrote that article. It's like, that's how they see it. The movie making art itself belongs to the left. And if you try to make a movie and you're on the right, then you're intruding in their area, and you have no right to be there.
Yeah, well, I have several thoughts. One is, it is funny that they still feel like they wield some power. The New York Times, Variety, LA Times, they're mostly made fun of by people on the right when they try to do a hit piece on them. The subject of the hit piece normally laughs at them, like we're ridiculing Variety now versus you on the phone with your publicist going, "We got to get that article taken down." It's now amusing to us because they don't wield any power anymore, and because you're operating outside of the system. When you're operating inside of the system, then you need Sundance and the Oscars and Variety and Dramalog. You need these, and LA Times, New York Times. You need Tribeca Film Festival. You need these entities. We're not in their sphere anymore, and they act like you want to be in their sphere, but we don't want to be in their sphere. And so they act like they're gatekeepers. They're bouncers in front of a club that we don't want to enter. But they act like there's a line going around the block and everyone wants to get into their crappy club. So it's funny, and it's good that Daily Wire exists outside of that ecosystem, and many other entities and podcasters and beyond, Substack and now X and everything else. So they write these articles like it's 1996. They don't realize nobody reads it, nobody gives a shit, and they become mock-worthy, number one. Number two, they end up outing themselves, as I said, by writing hit pieces in that. You're right. There's no reason. You made the most successful documentary monetarily in the last decade. You should submit it to the Oscars. That's not a story. The story is them doing a hit piece on you, and that outs themselves. I make documentaries. I've tried to submit them to Sundance and Tribeca and all, always rejected immediately, summarily, just rejected. Even documentaries about subject matter they would like, documentaries that were very well received. No, not going to touch it. So it's become abundantly clear it's exactly who they are. And it would be a waste of time for people like you and people like me to try to exist inside of their system. We will then exist outside of their system. They created this, and now you have people turning to podcasts versus CNN, MSNBC, or the LA Times to get their information. They created it.
Yeah, that's why it's always what I always wonder anytime I see one of these hit pieces is how do they think when there's a hit piece against me in one of these public, I was thinking, the person who wrote this, how do they imagine I'm going to react to this? Because how do they imagine I receive it? Because I have to think that they wouldn't write it unless they thought somehow that I'm going to see this and be like heartbroken or nervous or, oh my gosh, this is a crisis. Well, you're right, it's the exact opposite. I mean, the funny thing is that hit piece, I think our PR team here at Daily Wire sent me the article. They were the first ones to see it. It's their job to be looking for stuff like this. They sent it to me, but it wasn't like, we got to war game this thing. We got to figure out this is a crisis. That you got rejected by Variety. No, it was like I think they sent it with a link like LOL. This is great. It was fantastic. I read it. I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. I'll talk about this on the show tomorrow. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with it. They're promoting my movie too at the same time. So it's fantastic. And I think that this is part of their problem. They're so if they understood how the rest of the country views them, and if they even understood just their own ideological opponents, which they obviously consider me to be one, then they would stop writing these articles entirely because they would realize that when you write that article, you're playing right into my hand. By the way, if you do think that I submitted to Oscars purely for publicity and as a troll, well then mission accomplished in that case. I got Variety to talk about it. So if they understood this at all, what they would do is they would just not say anything. But I think they don't understand us. They don't understand American culture at this point. And they also can't help themselves. They just can't. They think that their opinion, they think so highly of themselves and their own opinion that they figure that, hey, I work for Variety. If I say this, of course, it's going to be devastating to the person I'm insulting, but it just isn't.
No, they can't help themselves. It's kind of interesting. It sort of reminds me of Leslie Stahl interviewing Trump. Sir, no, that can't be. No, it can't be proven. The laptop can't be. It's like you're outing yourself, sweetheart. Stifle yourself. Let him talk, and then say, "Well, we haven't verified the laptop, but when we do, we're going to get back." But she couldn't stop herself. They can't. It's like the ladies from The View. They start yammering, and the next thing you know, they call Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist, and the next thing you know, they get sued because they can't stop it. They think they're smarter than they are because they're formally educated, but they're not smart. But to them, formal education is the end-all and be-all. That's the yardstick that you measure intelligence. And they're formally educated, and they're so insulated in the circles they run with that they think everyone thinks like them, and then they out themselves, and they honestly, they make fools of themselves, and they lose market share by reacting the way they react instead of doing it in a more agnostic sort of way. I shouldn't know how you vote just because you write for a publication. And once I do know, then I'm now questioning the articles you write. I don't know why the LA Times and New York Times, I know it was different this time. I don't know why they endorse a candidate 2 months before the election. Because now I would tend to not believe you when you write hit pieces against the person you didn't endorse or lavish loving love letters to the person you did endorse. I shouldn't know this about you. Yeah,
what you said about formal education, I think that also is a big part of this, kind of the snobbery.
Yes.
And because what they're seeing with podcasting, with not just the Daily Wire, but I mean Angel Studios also making movies kind of outside of the and others making movies outside of the Hollywood ecosystem. So what they're seeing all that is just all of the formal gatekeeping processes are being rendered totally irrelevant, which means that them being the gatekeepers, they are also being rendered irrelevant. And then on top of that insult to injury, a lot of us who are in this space, as the outsiders doing these things, we also didn't even go to college. So now we've gone around all of the gatekeepers, all of the people that we're supposed to go through in the process to sort of earn our right to be taken seriously and to do all these things. And we've skipped all of that. And in many cases, we're now accessing a bigger audience than they are. And I think that to go back to what we said earlier, they just can't help themselves. It makes them so angry.
I know. It always cracks me up when they go, what do you mean? He's not a journalist? He's not a journalist. I tend to believe the non-journalists a lot more these days than the trained journalists. I like when they get how dare they attack journalists. That guy's not a journalist. It's like, okay, I don't know what they think we think of them, but you tell me journalists now, and already that's like strike number one. So it's weird. They love titles. They love Dr. Jill Biden. She's a doctor, and he's a journalist, and they love all that stuff, but they don't realize we make fun of Dr. Jill Biden for wanting to call herself doctor, and we make fun of that guy for calling himself a journalist. They're catching on, but they've not really gotten there yet.
And they can't really get there because to admit that, okay, well, these people don't care what I think, I'm a joke to them. If I'm a journalist, it's just my very profession has now become a joke. Well, if they fully admit that to themselves, then where do you go from there? I mean, you'd have to. It's admitting that you're a joke to the majority of the American people, I think, is probably a hard thing for someone to confront. And then you're left with the question of what do I do next? And I think that they just don't want to confront that. So they this is what they're stuck with.
Matt, let me give the movie one last plug. Am I Racist? Available Daily Wire Plus. Lots of good stuff going on over at the Daily Wire. Matt, always good catching up with you, and always excited to think about what your next project is. I imagine you're thinking about it because now you got to keep going, right?
We're definitely thinking about it. We do have to keep going, but it's each new one you feel like you have to top the last one. So we got some ideas. That's all I can say. So some ideas. All right. Ideas.
Well, Godspeed. You're doing the Lord's work. Thanks for the chat, Matt.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back with the writer and financial analyst, Maha Abouelenein, right after this. Reliance and available. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever you find finer books.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. I know, inspired by your father.
Yes.
What lies within the jacket of this book?
Well, I think today people have a lot of expectations that people need to be doing things for them. And they expect people to just deliver things to them because they think they deserve it. And I profess that you should rely on yourself first and invest in yourself first before asking for help or learning the things you need to know how to do in today's society and world that'll put you on the best foot forward.
Well, it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a societal thing. And it always bothers me when politicians, it always drives me nuts when there's a politician who's a woman or a person of color and they go, we got to get somebody in there to work for us, because we're people of color, we're woman, or we're gay, or whatever. And I always want to go, they're do nothing.
Yes.
They can't. By the way, they're not motivated to do anything for you after the election, but even if they were motivated, really, what is it could they do for you? Like specifically,
yeah.
And we sell it, like we pitch it, like we need someone who looks like us, we need someone who understands us. people, nobody's really going to do anything for you.
Exactly.
Mainly unless it benefits them.
Yeah.
Right. And because they would like to benefit themselves the same way you would like to benefit yourself. But if you can, I just told someone this story the other night. I hadn't thought about it in a while, but I wanted to become a boxing instructor.
Really?
Yeah, I won't get you mired in it, but that's what I wanted to do. That I went to the gym, and the guy, white collar place, doctors and lawyers and stuff, but he said, we don't need you. You're not an ex-champion. We only hire champions, so we don't need you. And I said, okay, and he didn't want me. Which, okay. But then I looked in the back and I saw there was a bunch of stuff on the floor, speed bag stations, heavy bags. They're laying on the floor. So I stopped. I said, do you want those things hung up and put up and mounted? And he goes, yeah. And I go, oh.
I'll do that.
I'm a carpenter and I'll do it. And then when I do it, you let me teach boxing. And all of a sudden there was something in it for him.
Yes.
Because when it was just something in it for me, he told me, there's the door.
Well, you just practiced one of the rules of the book, which is creating value for other people.
Which number is that?
That's number 2.
Number 2.
If you can learn how to create value for other people, you can get your foot in the door, or you can ultimately create value for yourself. So you basically gave him a reason. You created value for him. You showed him what you're capable of doing that he didn't think of. And that's exactly what the rule is about. How can you anticipate needs or create value for somebody else of maybe something they didn't know they wanted or that they didn't think you were qualified to do?
Yeah, so get out of the mindset of what can people do for me.
Yeah.
But they will do a lot for you if you prove to be valuable.
Exactly.
And I said, too, I haven't said it in a while, it's not what you know, it's what they know.
Yeah, and it's not what you think is valuable, it's what other people think is valuable. So you have to figure out what do people care about and then try to deliver that if you have good intentions to do something for a good reason.
And I told this guy, too, I said, now, look, once I hang all your stuff and do all your work here, I just need the opportunity to teach a class. If I'm no good, you don't have to
keep me.
I just want a chance to do it. And so now this guy's just getting his heavy bags hung and no guarantees on whether I'm going to teach there or not. So he has no risk or no liability. He's just going to get his stuff done.
But you did another rule of the book. You put a deposit in his trust bank. Basically, you decided to do something that you knew was of value to him because when you asked him, he said, yeah, I'd like to do it. But you're putting a deposit in his trust bank. Whether he keeps you or not, you don't know.
Yes.
Because you want to do things because you have good intentions or you're trying to prove yourself for somebody. But you may not. So we live in a world today, Adam, you know this. Everyone wants to do instant gratification. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. But what if we become long-term players? What if I decide to do something for this gentleman because I feel like there might be a payout or a payback? I don't know what the outcome will be because I don't know if I'm going to be a good instructor, if the students will like me, if they'll get attached to me, if I'll bring value to the students. And then the instructor's like, oh, the owner thinks you're doing a good job. I just feel like we live in a world today where everyone just wants something for something, a give and a take.
Yes.
And I talk a lot about in the book, and one of the rules is be a long-term player. Don't just do things because you want instant gratification or somebody wants to do you a favor. What if you just wanted to do something good for somebody because you felt that was valuable, and by having good intentions, it'll come back to you tenfold in other ways.
Also,
it's not something we teach in society today.
No.
We don't at all.
It's not, I think sometimes people think it's karma. It's not karma.
It's not karma. It's hard work.
Yeah, and also, I don't think people realize, how fast time passes. You go, I don't want to volunteer at the whatever for 6 months. That's a long time not to get paid or whatever. It's you blink your eyes, it's gone. And you get into a position. I mean, I always worked for free. That was my thing. Okay, so here's the deal.
I talk about that, too. I did that a lot.
Man, who wrote this book, me or you? This thing of look, I worked at McDonald's. I would not work at McDonald's for free.
No.
I needed to get paid. It was, $3 an hour. But I would not stand over a griddle and flip burgers all day for free. There's nothing in it for me. But when I tried to get into radio, I worked for free because I was like, I want to be here. I want to show them what I got. Also, nobody knows if you're a good boxing instructor by looking at you. Nobody knows if you're funny by looking at you. Like, you got to show up. The part where somebody mows your lawn or flips your burger, fine. But I knew they didn't know what I could do. I knew they were looking at me going, you don't look very funny and you don't look like you can teach boxing either. So I was like, I know they know that. They're not thinking that highly of me. I'm going to have to show them, and I'll have to show them for free.
Yeah. I worked several times for so many people for free because I wanted to get my foot in the door. I wanted to get a better opportunity. I had to show them what I was capable of. I had to bring them value. I had to put my ego aside. I had to put in the hard work and let my hard work speak for itself. I tell a story in the book of I moved to Egypt when I was 27. I'm born and raised from Minnesota. I lived in Minnesota my whole life. I'm from Minnesota, and I moved to Egypt, and I get this job as a secretary for this billionaire. And I was like, this is horrible. I don't want to be a secretary for a billionaire. I was working at General Mills in sports marketing. I have a master's degree. I'm overqualified. Why am I going to be a secretary for this billionaire? Well, I didn't have the advice, and it was the insight that my father did. My father's like, you should take this job and prove to him what you're capable of doing. Get your foot in the door. Learn how to build relationships. Learn how to do business here. Build your own network. Put your head down and put the hard work in and let that speak for itself. And by turning that, I turned that job around into what I wanted it to be, but I had to take what they wanted to give me first.
Yes.
Well, and it's hard to do.
Yeah. But none of it is rocket science.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. Show up early, be in a good mood, be consistent. Do not be value added. There's so many people at work that are just trying to kind of get out of stuff all the time.
Or get stuff from the employer without trying to put in the work first. What's in it for me?
Yeah. There's a lot of that. The most successful people I know are not transactional that way. They just do a lot for a lot of people, and they end up having great relationships with a lot of people, and thus the money sort of follows.
Yeah, and think about your career. Didn't you build trust, put deposits in trust banks over years and years and years? You're building relationships over time with a lot of people.
I showed up when I was trying to do morning radio. One of the guys who's in the morning show was Bean of Kevin and Bean, and I saw his car had a big scuff in it, in the side of it, like someone took a dress shoe and made a big black scuff on the side of it.
His car?
Yeah, it was parked down the street. I knew which car it was for some reason, and I'm a car guy. I just walked past it, and it had a big thing in it, And the following time I was supposed to come to the radio station and work for free, I brought some rubbing compound and my rag and stuff, and I just stopped by his car and I buffed it out on the way to the studio. And then when I got up, I was like, hey, Bean, that big scuff in the side of your car? I said, yeah, I know. I hate that. I said, I just buffed it out. Looks brand new. And he's like, oh, thanks. And I knew I was trying to make a positive impression. I wanted him fighting for me. I wanted, some weeks later, probably, the whole morning team was going to New York for the MTV Awards. And they were like, should I go? Because I'm not really getting paid, and they'd have to buy me a plane ticket and stuff like that. And I wanted Bean fighting for me. I wanted him going, no, he's a good dude. He should go. He should go. Because I buffed his car out.
Did you go?
Yeah.
Because you did something that you showed that you're a go-getter and you're willing to do something without being asked, that you're willing to see the details, that you care, that you're trying to add value. You didn't know that doing that would get you a trip to the MTV event.
No.
But you knew that it was the right thing to do. It's something you valued. You thought you had good intentions, and you know that that's something that you were uniquely qualified to do.
Yeah, people have a weird thing where they think it's kind of kissing ass or brown nosing with the boss or something, and it's
not if you're doing it because you have good intentions.
Also, look, having the boss like you and feel positive about you is what you want.
Yes, of course.
And the boss, I don't know when it becomes brown-nosing and when it's just a compliment, but the boss does like it when you go, oh, I saw you on this thing the other night. Oh, real funny stuff. That was great. They go, oh, good. Like, I like to be around this person.
Yeah, you're following their careers. You care about, you're interested in what they're doing. You're paying attention. Like, that matters.
Yeah, but again, none of it rocket science. It's
None
all
of
just
it
kind of
rocket science.
calorie burning and showing up. And
Showing up is everything. Like, I was
Everything.
talking to somebody the other day about networking is just so much work. I hate networking. I don't want to sit and set up virtual coffees and do all these. Networking is just a daunting thing, but building relationships is important. And I said, you know what you can do? You have 15 minutes every day. Do you have 10 minutes every day? And she was like, yeah, I got 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get on your social media for 10 minutes a day and share your friends' work, make comments on their posts, promote what they care about, forward their articles. That's networking. That's showing up for somebody. Like, you can do it virtually when you don't have a lot of time by just helping support other people, and it takes you no time and it's free.
Yeah.
What's a simple thing you can do that's not rocket science, but also shows to people that you care?
Yeah, everybody I know that is somewhere did a lot of pro bono freebie work. And that's another thing that people need. I'll tell you the number one thing. I don't know if this is in your book, but the question mark. So if I said to anybody, you just work at this place for free for 6 months, and 3 years from now, you're going to be running the place and making tons of dough.
Wow.
Then everybody would go, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. You would do it. It's the same thing I do with people all the time. It's what I call my $10,000 rule, where they go, I go, you said you were going to do X, Y, move all these boxes out of the living room by the weekend, but they're still there. And I go, yeah, I was really busy, man. And then I go, well, what if I said I'll give you $10,000 if they're out by it? And then they always go, yeah, I would have done it.
Yeah.
And then I go, all right, well, then just do it. Just be that person.
Yeah.
So if you said to anybody, you work for free for 6 months, and then 3 years from now, you'll be running this place, they'd go, oh, yeah, okay.
I'll do that, yeah.
But now the equation is work here for free for 6 months, and then who knows? And now that's when people drop off.
Of course.
Because nobody knows, because nobody did know, because it's unknowable.
It's unknowable, but think of what could you do to create an opportunity out of that where you can gain something from it.
Oh, look, if you get a little bit older and you watch people sort of travel through this process, none of it is coincidental. There's not any magic or smoke and hokum to any of it. It's just, I saw, I met Jimmy Kimmel when he was 26. He would show up at the radio station at 4 a.m. with a pile of newspapers and stuff cut out. And, and I'd be like,
why?
Yeah, I'd be like, Jimmy, you're doing the sports. Like, what are you coming in with all this other stuff for? And he's like, I got stuff that they might want to use in other segments that's not my segment, but that they need to do, that this would help the show. You know what I mean? And he'd just show up so early, he had to start at 6 a.m., but he didn't need to show up at 4 or 4:30 or whatever it is. And he certainly didn't need to bring all this material for other aspects of the show, but he did. And they quickly relied upon him. Yeah. They're like, oh, we got to keep this guy. Yeah. And now we got to keep him. We got to move him up, and we got to pay him, and so on and so forth.
He's resourceful. He's reliable. He's putting in extra effort. He's doing things we didn't ask him to do.
Yes. Yes. And then, next thing you know, he's hosting the Oscars. That's just kind of how it works. It sounds insane, but it's really not that insane.
Nothing replaces hard work and effort.
Right.
That's why you have to put in the hard work and the effort. In today's society, I think a lot of people want the shortcuts, and they want the money, and they want the VIP title, and they want all these things, but they don't want to put in the effort. And I think our relationship with time has changed dramatically. Like now, we don't want to wait 3 seconds for a video to load.
Yes, this is a big problem. And by the way, I wanted the money too. That's why I worked for free and put the effort in. It was about money.
Of course.
I was like, I want to get paid. I want nice stuff. I want to live in a house. I want air conditioning. I don't want to drive a truck. It was pretty
Practical.
Yeah, it was practical. So I was like, okay, I want all this stuff. I'm not trying to get a job driving for Uber that I could get tomorrow. I want a job where I make tons of money doing a very low percentage job. I mean, that's the other thing too, people. If it's a low percentage job, you better get after it. You want to drive for Uber? You want to work at Burger King? Don't worry about it. That's easy. If you want to play shortstop for the Yankees, that's going to be a low percentage job.
Yep.
And you have to act accordingly.
Be the first one in, last one out, put in the reps, learn, put your head down, let your hard work speak for itself, but you got to build your relationships are key.
People do also, I do notice a fair bit of like self-sabotage that people do in kind of work relationships.
Yeah.
Which is weird. They just don't ever say anything like, I'm not going to do that, or don't say that's not my job. That's not my job. When the second the boss hears that's not my job, he puts you in a category of like, all right, that's not a long-term person.
Yeah, and they're not there to like actually bring value to the business. They care about their career and their lifestyles and what they need to do to get home on time to go watch Netflix.
Right. Yeah. So don't say I'm not going to do that. Don't say that's not my job. And don't say I tried my best when you screwed something up.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in business, at least what I care a lot about, is accountability. Like, take accountability. Like, I always like try to like you do something, give them clear expectations, make sure they're committed to it, and then hold them accountable. Nobody wants to be held accountable.
Well, there is a new-ish thing where everybody under 40 has a quick answer for everything, and it's really trying to get away from the accountability part. Mm-hmm. I don't, it's a strange thing. I've said to people many times, when you say, you fuck something up and then you go, I fucked up, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen again. Where do we go from there? What am I going to do?
Where
keep
do I
going?
That,
I just go, okay, good. We're not going to keep going around, and I'm not going to beat you up verbally. You just owned it, said, I own it, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen again. I go, okay, great. Moving on.
Yeah.
Now we move on.
But if they mess up and they don't do that, that's where I have a problem.
There's something ingrained in every person under the age of 40 where they just fire back with something. And now we're going to go down this path where I'm going to address what you said.
Yep.
And now
we're wasting all this time talking about it.
We're going to be in the beginnings of an argument here that you don't want to have. So I don't know why you didn't just sort of eat it and say, my bad. Yeah,
because if you do, it immediately disarms everybody. Like if you take accountability and said, it's on me, I messed up, I'm happy with that answer. It's when they don't do that that I'm like, get really upset, because I'm like, listen, if you think that you can pass this on to somebody else, or you're not willing to take accountability, what else are you not able to kind of see through to the end or not take accountability for? What else are you avoiding, or what shortcuts are you trying to take? I feel so many times in business that generations of different workers in different fields feel like, it's not on me. It's like, it's the company's,
Well, it's also, whatever it is you think you're doing with this argument, possibly winning, you're not. The boss is walking away and he's shaking his head and he's going, all right, that guy's an idiot, or he's not in trouble, or not a team player. Like whatever that thing is, it's basically... It's like you think you're winning an argument with your wife or your girlfriend, but are you really winning that argument? Yeah. I don't know.
No. And it's so easy right now, Adam, with the workforce, that there's our choices. Like, I don't need to just pick people that live in my city. Now with remote working, there's not that people are disposable, but like you have a choice to find somebody else in that role who could do it remotely, and you have choice for other people.
I was looking down on your resume. I was kind of interested that you manage communications for companies like Google, Netflix, in the Middle East.
In Dubai.
So, like, what is Netflix in the Middle East? How does that Or is it any different than Netflix here?
Yeah. So
And
Netflix
what do you
used,
do for
yeah,
it?
Netflix used to only be in the U.S. And then one day they decided to turn it on in 130 countries around the world. And that was like 2016 or something. It didn't used to exist in every country in the world. It was only available if you had a U.S. account. And so I was living in Dubai. I was head of communications and public policy at Google for about 4 years. And then I left, went back to my consulting firm, and Netflix wanted to launch in the Middle East. And, they were going to start to build, they wanted to have all the libraries that were available everywhere else in the world to be available in the Middle East. But like certain shows, you have to have licensing for those regions. So they started we want to have Netflix available in the Middle East where anyone who has an internet connection can get it. And then now it's several years later, obviously. Now they have Arabic content on there. They have different shows on there. But for the longest time, Netflix, this is, used to only be available if you had a U.S. account or in the U.S. Now they subtitle in French and in different languages and in Arabic and in other markets. And so we launched them in the Middle East so people could get it. And then they started to get all the shows. At the time, it was Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Chef's Table. Those were the hot shows that were happening back then. That they started launching in the region, and the Crown and all these other shows, and they would help basically introduce these shows to the Middle Eastern market. 300 million people, more people watch YouTube in the Middle East than any other country, any other bloc in the world. Consumption is
Per
like
capita.
per capita, yeah. Like some place
So
like Saudi, which didn't have movie theaters, now they do. But YouTube's numbers were off the charts. Snapchat, one of the largest markets in the world for Snapchat, is the Middle East.
Why do you reckon that? Like YouTube watching in the Middle East per capita?
I think two things. One is they're very digitally savvy. They're mobile first. It's very common for someone in Dubai to sit at a dinner table and take out two phones. So they're consuming more. They are digitally first. The population in the region is like most of the population, more than 50% of the population is under the age of 35. So you have a consuming market of young people and a lot of gamers. A lot of big gaming things happen in the it's just a young audience, and so they tune into technology more than we consume technology. I mean, I'm 55, so
What
not my age group.
And were there cultural restrictions like on Netflix that this group doesn't, they take offense to that, or they don't want depictions of this?
Yeah. I think the nuances are there, like they, nudity and all these kind of things, like the shows that they would put on, they have to make sure that they weren't culturally offensive to people. If there was things in the culture, like in television, you can't just turn on the TV in Egypt or Dubai and watch any nudity whatsoever. Netflix had a bunch of content on there that has different variety of topics and stuff. And they've never, up until when I was working there, never had any content be requested to take down. And they didn't, the whole tenure I was there for about 5 years working with them, they never had any issues with shows that were controversial. In fact, they kind of started to invest to make sure that they had things that people liked there to watch, like cooking shows in Arabic and comedy. The number one genre for content in the Middle East is comedy.
Really?
You got to come.
I wouldn't have guessed that the number one genre
is comedy
in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It is, when you say genre, are you talking about stand-up comedy? Are you talking about just comedy, sitcoms, or in general?
Stand-up comedy shows, comedic programming, sitcoms, but mostly it starts with stand-up comics.
Is it because it's something that's newish and they're hitting it harder, or is it almost a compensation, or has it been around?
It's part of the culture from the beginning of time. Like, I think people.
Yeah, but Richard Pryor wasn't huge in the Middle East.
No. It's local. It's people from it's local Egyptian comedians, local Egyptian or local Saudi comedians. It's local talent.
I had an Egyptian roommate for a while.
No way.
One of my best friends, Amgad Abu Zamzam.
No way.
Yeah, and he always had a big laugh and was kind of funny. And kind of
Egyptians are known. Egyptians are known for being really funny.
Yeah, he was funny. Well, I was funnier than he was, but he would laugh it up. He was a little bit jolly, which you wouldn't think. You'd think that we think of that culture serious. Like Middle Eastern, very serious people.
Yeah, no. So Egypt exports a lot of the film, music, television. Egypt's like the Hollywood of the Middle East. Like all the creators come out of there, the comedians come out of there, the actresses, books, film, like all comes from cinema, Egyptian cinema, like it comes from Egyptian cinema. And Egypt has like a very unique dialect of how they talk. It's very slang. And so a lot of people will recognize you if you're Egyptian by the way that you talk. And it's like, that's the culture of films and television and music there.
Huh. And I wouldn't have thought. I mean, it's kind of nice to think that comedy's a good forecaster for cultures. I think it's good. Like when there's no comedy, it's like I'll put it to you this way. I come from the San Fernando Valley. There's no stand-up clubs in the San Fernando Valley, and that's not good because it means culturally they're kind of behind.
Yeah.
You know, then you go to New York, and there's a stand-up club every half block, right? And it just means culturally, and you can feel that this culture is like more advanced and more into life and culture, and this one's a little more stilted and slowed down, and a lot of stucco and aluminum windows and flat roofs, and you know. So when I hear that a region is into comedy, I think, good. That's a good sign.
Yeah, comedy and satire. Like there's a lot of satire. A lot of the most popular films and television shows coming, especially out of a market like Saudi, have to do with satire.
And is there, so there's like a Bollywood version
a version of it. Yeah, it's not as big as Bollywood. It's massive.
Well, they have the populace to support
To do
it.
it,
I don't,
exactly.
Egypt's
100 million people.
which
Egypt is no
not
joke.
bad, but it's not 1.3 billion or something.
Yeah,
you
but
know what I
Egypt
mean?
is no joke at 100 million people. The traffic is atrocious.
Yeah, that's bigger than I would have thought. So it's about 30% of the United States or something.
Yeah,
like
you got to
that.
come out. Abu Dhabi has a huge thing called Abu Dhabi Comedy Week. It's massive.
Okay. And do they have restrictions on things you can say and can't say?
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you
of
go to
course,
that?
like you swearing and any offensive topics. Yeah, you got to be careful. You can't just say whatever you want.
Well, see, now we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
At a certain point,
Yes, that's true.
You just say what you want. Because, I mean, I deal with that a little bit here, too, you know. But what I'm saying is the problem with the offensive subject matter is who's
deciding?
Who's deciding it's
Who's
offensive?
deciding? Yeah,
'cause-
it's true. Yeah, I just think there's cultural norms like anywhere in the world, and I feel like theirs are very much, rooted in that. And so I feel like they want to. I mean, being funny and self-deprecating humor is something that exists 100%. But I feel like there's certain, things that they want to make sure that you just don't go wild and say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah, no, listen, if you do network TV in prime time, if you do a late night set on a late night show here, you got to run your set past the censor.
Yeah.
And they'll let you talk about this and that, but you don't get to drop any shits or fucks. And if you said, you don't get to do things that are patently offensive because whatever that standard they have is.
Yeah.
If you want to be in this format.
Yeah.
Which is doing late night set.
Yeah. And you don't want to inflame people and get them to do things that.
I don't know. See,
Is that why they do it? They don't want people to go rogue?
Here? Mm-hmm. You mean inflame the populace?
Yeah, about a certain topic or.
No, I don't. I don't think that. Well, I don't think stand-up comedians have that degree of control over the populace, I just think there are things that people don't like or want to hear, usually hard truths.
Yeah, they want to be entertained. They don't want to be bull truths.
Well, some people's form of being entertained is hearing like really provocative, tough truths. You know what I mean? Like really hard edge roast jokes. Some people love that shit, I love it too, but it's got to ring true. If it doesn't ring true, then it's not funny. But if it doesn't ring true, it also doesn't sting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And there are times when you roast somebody and they get legitimately pissed. It can happen. All right, let me give the book plug out. 7 Rules of Self-Reliance.
Yes.
Available
on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books.
And Savvy Talk is the pod, right?
Yes.
We can find that wherever you find finer podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Also, I'm going to be in New York doing a stand-up show for Fox.
You are?
Yeah.
I want to go to that.
Well, you're going to be in New York?
When?
Could be a little offensive, I guess, with Miller and Jackson. First off, I watched the A-Team, the movie, and I was like, Rampage Jackson's a pretty good actor. That was my take.
Man, you know what? I'm glad you said that, but honestly, I wasn't acting. So my acting is still trash.
You're playing yourself, essentially.
I was playing myself. That was a mixture of me and my dad.
Did you grow up as a Mr. T guy? I mean, you're a little bit young for Mr. T.
No, I'm 46. It was in the heyday. I used to watch that show with my dad. I'm the weirdest person. I'm not a big fan of anybody or anything, but I was Mr. T's biggest fan.
Well, I went as Mr. T for Halloween in like 1985 or something, and it's not blackface. It's an homage to Mr. T.
Yeah.
If I went as a generic black man, then that's blackface.
Right,
but I'm
100%.
going as Mr. T.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Because I love Mr. T.
Right.
Why are we trying to discourage? Here's the thing. This blackface thing, if you are a big fan of someone who is black, that's actually a good thing.
Exactly.
I was so committed, I shaved my head.
You didn't just do the fake? You shaved
I grew a beard when I was like 20. This could have been 1982, 1983. They'll find a picture of it. I grew a beard. I spent 2 months preparing for the role of a lifetime.
Commitment.
I was Mr. T long before you were Mr. T. I grew a beard and I shaved my head, and that not back before everything. It was cool to be bald or anything. We're talking about the 80s. People had long, flowing hair.
Oh my God!
No, that is not blackface.
That's Mr. T.
Hey, that remind me of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. I grew a beard and shaved my head.
I love it. You had all the gold chains and everything too?
I got all, I mean, they were plastic, but yeah. I did the whole thing. Cut the sleeves off, did the voice.
Hey, I hope I'm not misspeaking by saying it, but you look kind of like P. Diddy right there. I'm sorry. More like P. Diddy than
I've been to a couple of the parties, but I clear out by 4 a.m.
Hey, but you know what? You went up a notch in my book, man. That's cool, though.
So, Rampage, you're one of my favorite fighters. I felt you were pretty dominant, almost a little unbeatable back in the light heavyweight UFC days. A good run.
I had a good run.
Yeah. But the thing about UFC is, and the reason I think people like it, is Larry Holmes had a good run. But it was never a question that he was going to win. We knew he was going to win. And Muhammad Ali sort of before that. I mean, Muhammad Ali has some epic battles, but I just mean, Larry Holmes went like 11 years without getting beaten or something. I just knew, it's like, oh, here comes Trevor Berbick. Okay, he's going to be in. Here comes Ronaldo Nehemiah or Snipes, and Ronaldo Snipes or something. Okay, he's going to beat this, and he just would. UFC, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, and the record reflects it, because you have guys going to the Hall of Fame that are, 30 and 18. And it's like, that doesn't exist in boxing. You can't have 18 losses against 30 wins, and you're not a marquee guy.
Right.
And UFC, anything can happen.
Do you know why the records look different between MMA and boxing?
No.
Oh, because a lot of boxers, their records are padded. Mm-hmm. In MMA, we fight anybody, right? Have you ever turned down a fight, Mayhem?
No.
No. I've tried to turn down one fight, Matt Hamill. And UFC's like, no, you still fight. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
How'd you do against Matt Hamill?
I beat him, but I just didn't want to fight him because he was a wrestler. I'm a wrestler, but he's one of those guys that just wrestles and wrestles and wrestles. I like exciting fights.
Right.
Yeah. And he was deaf, and people gave me shit for fighting a deaf guy.
Oh, yeah. Now, when you're doing the press leading up to a deaf guy, you can talk shit, but you must need a guy who can sign shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like a shit signer?
Yeah.
Stenographer shit.
Yeah. He had his own people. And, that fight was so long ago, and I liked him. I had nothing against him, so I couldn't really talk shit on him.
Who didn't you like that you fought?
I didn't like Vanderlei Silva. Mm-hmm. I didn't like him. He hated me, but I didn't like him because he hated me. I didn't like Queen Mo. That's your friend. My ass.
Oh, Queen Mo's King Mo?
Yeah, let me tell you something. About Mayhem. You know, me and Mayhem, we started at the same time. We're brothers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Mayhem, he was a traitor. He went and trained. When I was fighting for the first, I'm the first ever unified champion of this sport of MMA. Mm-hmm. And he went to go train with my opponent.
King Mo.
No, Dan. That was Dan Henderson.
Oh, Henderson.
Listen, what am I supposed to do? I had to go make some money. Like, they go, hey, we'll give you some money to pretend to be this guy for this fight, and then I train with the guy. I didn't know later he was going to fight you.
No, you come back. You come back and say like, "Hey, these guys are offering me money to train with them. How much you going to pay me?"
No. But when that happened, he was fighting Murillo Bustamante, not you. And then I just stayed with the camp. What was I supposed to do? Like go?
No. You fight my brother Rampage. I'm outie. How much you get paid?
Yeah, but I was living in a van down by the river.
Let him to be the judge.
Listen.
I know Mayhem your boy, but come on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Rampage. Dan Henderson's a tough customer.
That was a tough fight, bro.
Did you beat him?
Yeah, I beat him. I beat him by decision. I knew that was going to be a tough fight, but you know what? I'm glad Mayhem went to train with him because when I was fighting him, it was like training. It was like training with Mayhem, but he wasn't as good as Mayhem at the stuff.
Oh wow!
So Mayhem actually helped me win that fight without even knowing.
Exactly. Yeah. So you win.
So I know you were talking a little shit about Jake Paul. I think you tweeted something out recently. Yeah. What'd you make of the Tyson Jake Paul fight?
I would never say one bad word against Mike Tyson because I love him so much. I look up to him, but I'm a fighter, and I looked at that fight, and I can tell, like, you know what I'm saying? He did what he was supposed to do in there. You understand what I'm saying?
Meaning Tyson.
Tyson did what he's supposed to do in there.
You think? Okay. Let's try to figure out some nether region, not nether region.
What?
Sorry, no nether region.
Wait. Where are we going with this?
No nether regions. Something in between.
His butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Back in the 30s, the mob would just pay you to take a fall.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Now, that's not what's going on now, but there's another version where there's an understanding of how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
Is that sort of what you think happened?
Yeah, because look at Jake Paul. He's a YouTuber turned boxer. He did pretty good, got some pretty good skills, but he handpicks his opponents, which is smart because he's the ticket right now, right? Mm-hmm. And then one guy that he thought he can beat, one boxer that he thought he can beat. Well, let's keep it 100 right now. He fought Tyson Fury, right?
Mm-hmm. No, his brother.
His brother. That's his name. Tyson Fury's brother. What's his name? Whatever his name.
Right.
Last name Tyson.
Yeah. Right.
Harpo Fury, I think.
So I forgot his name. Tommy Fury.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Jake Paul was going to beat him too because I've seen him fight in clips of his fight. He sucked as a boxer.
Tommy did.
Right. And Jake Paul thought he could beat him, but when you watch the fight, Tommy just knew a little bit more things than us MMA guys know about the head movement and ducking down punches.
And jab. His jab was a lot more crisp.
Yes. Stuff that don't come natural to us.
Right.
We can't really bob our head and move that much or we get kicked or knee in the face.
Right.
And just that little bit was enough to beat Jake Paul, right?
Right.
So he handpicking his opponents. So what's the next biggest thing for him at that time? Mike Tyson. It broke the internet. It went viral. But he probably put clauses in there that Mike Tyson can't knock him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tyson got out of the gate, threw a couple of punches with purpose. He threw a straight right, like in the first round, that was kind of Tyson-esque, you know? And he was moving sort of Tyson-esque. But it's a game of really milliseconds and millimeters, and it's basically Trump in an assassin's bullet. You know what I mean? I mean, we are literally milliseconds and millimeters from having Kamala Harris as the president because because Trump turned and just looked, and the thing caught his ear.
That way.
I mean, the difference between getting hit in the forehead and getting hit in the earlobe is nothing versus everything, you know? And Tyson's punch missing you by a quarter inch is the same as you getting missed by a freight train by a quarter inch. You're nothing. You're still the same. So just that little timing that 58-year-old guys just don't have anymore.
Right. But, we missing the whole point. This, at the end of the day, is all entertainment.
Yeah.
They're entertaining people.
They did a good job of like hyping that thing up, and then I didn't even watch those like behind the scenes type thing, but I saw it that it was on there every day. They had a new episode every couple days. It was like a total, I don't know, like propaganda machine to get you to on the Netflix that night.
Sorry, what did you tweet out to Jake Paul? I think we had it written out there, but
Jake
we
Paul
took it off for some reason.
Yeah, I saw him going at Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor to fight MMA, no weight classes or whatever, because Conor McGregor is a smaller guy than him.
Yeah.
So he wants to fight mixed martial arts with Conor?
That's what he says. Yeah,
That's what he says. All right.
Yeah. So I didn't like that. I don't like him calling out the little bitty guy. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul should call out people his own age and his own size.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not going to do that.
No way.
Exactly.
Too smart for that.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, yeah, we know what you're doing. We know you're handpicking your opponents, to get the bag, and you're doing good. But stop calling. But stop. Come on, don't come to MMA. Quit. Go out there and get more YouTubers. Go fight more YouTubers.
He did it for long enough in the casual space where no like fight educated people. Like we weren't paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Nobody who knows fights was paying. Now we are, and now we're telling on them. Like everybody's going, yeah, dude, you're just picking on guys that are older, past their prime, got knocked out before, and can get touched really easily. So that's what you're doing now. Now we pulled behind the curtain. I don't know what the hell he's gonna do. He ain't gonna fight you in MMA.
Well,
I asked to fight him in MMA. No, everybody's lining up. Hey, you want to fight MMA? Come on, let's fight. But the guy's not gonna do it. There's no way he does it.
What do you think, Conor, if they had that fight, what do you think he would enter the ring weighing?
220 pounds?
No, Conor, no.
Trying.
I would say close to like 180, 185. Because
185.
He'll probably cut to get down to 70 and 170, right?
Maybe.
Conor
yeah.
cuts to get to 170?
Now he does.
Now he
after that
does.
movie.
Now he does.
I'm sure.
He got
Okay.
enormous for that
So
movie.
what I'm saying is it's one thing to stay on your feet, but I think Conor would have a huge advantage over Jake Paul if you mixed it up.
Well, Jake Paul is a wrestler. I think he wrestled in high school.
In
or something.
high school, yeah, but it takes a while to get that back. Like you even see it in UFC, guys who were wrestlers who just spec into kickboxing only. They turn into they forget how to wrestle. They don't really wrestle because those muscles. I said at the seminar this past weekend. There's like only certain ways, and you know it, that you can't really go on a machine and work your sprawl. This doesn't work. You have to have somebody grab your legs and kick your legs back. You have to figure. And I think Conor McGregor would do some weird kind of, I don't know, step around, takedown, and he'd be on his back eventually. Like
Who, Conor?
Yeah, Conor. I think Conor might be able to work that out in a grappling fashion.
Yeah. How good is Conor's ground game? I've never seen him submit.
No, yeah, he knows how to do jiu-jitsu for sure. His takedowns, we never see him because he does this wild kind of kickboxing stuff.
Right.
And, you could even see in the Khabib fight, like he had some jiu-jitsu. He just wasn't strong enough to fight off Khabib.
I don't think I don't know that Conor wouldn't be favored in this. Do you?
Yeah,
He
MMA.
wouldn't because he's a smaller guy.
He's smaller, but this is MMA, and anyone can get choked out by a 160-pound person.
Yeah. So you would put your money on Conor in that one?
I think if it was straight MMA and Conor took it seriously going into it, yeah, I think I would. Listen, I used to box. I've been beat up by guys who are 30 pounds lighter than me just boxing, just because they were real aggressive and they hit real hard and they're real. They were good. It's not all size, and when you go down into MMA, I think it's less about size. Like I mean, John Jones is big and he's beefed up now and stuff, but John Jones at 220 could probably handle most of the 250-pound heavyweights.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Brendan Schwab told us on the Jackson podcast that he was sparring with John Jones, and he wouldn't say the other heavyweights when he was 205. Said they would, do round robin with the guy that stays in the middle.
Right.
And John Jones beat everybody up, all the heavyweights when he was 205.
Yeah, he's like a standout talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
I know
strange thing.
it'd be interesting. You wouldn't mind fighting Jake Paul, I guess, in MMA?
I would fight Jake Paul for free. You know why? Because people going to think it's a money grab, and the fans thinking that a lot of these fighters are taking a dive for money. Mm-hmm. And I would like to just show the MMA fans that Jake Paul is not all what he's cracked up to be, and just go out there and just knock his ass out first round.
Hell yeah.
What do you think your best fight was, Rampage?
My best fight.
I need a list of Rampage's fights. By the way, just put it on the screen.
I think my best fight was that fight against Dan Henderson because I showed everything. I showed my stand up. I showed my wrestling because Dan Henderson's a great wrestler, and I showed my ground skills, which I don't typically show. And that fight was a really tough fight, and I had to turn it up the last 30 seconds of each round to win that fight. And yeah, that was my best fight.
Yeah, that was kind of the Sugar Ray Leonard thing when he went against Hagler.
Yeah.
They gave him the 30 seconds left, and he finished with a flurry.
Yeah.
And probably won over a lot of judges.
That's what I did. That's how I trained because I've trained with Dan Henderson before as well, and so I knew how tough he was and how skilled he was. So I made a point to myself that this is going to be a real hard fight for me. And at the end I told my coaches when 30 seconds left, let me know. And when I ran, when my run's almost over, I sprinted the last 30 seconds.
Right.
And in my training, I went hard the last 30 seconds every day in training camp. And I think that's the only thing that won me that fight.
You know, it is interesting when you fight and or do radio, you get a real appreciation of like what 3 minutes is, what 5 minutes is, and what 30 seconds
Yes,
is.
yeah.
Like you do radio, there's a commercial break, it's 4 minutes. You got time.
Yeah.
People think, oh, you don't leave the studio. It's like, leave the studio. I'm going to take a piss, get a blowjob, come back, smoke a cigarette, and I'll be back. You know what I mean? Like, you got time. And when you train boxing, MMA, whatever that thing is, you don't know how long 30 seconds can feel, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it's good because it gives you some sort of life perspective, you know, where people think, kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys ever do this, but I'll sometimes just time myself. Like I'll go like, I don't want to go down to the car, get this shit out of the car. I'll do it tomorrow. You know, and I'll go, it's 45 seconds. You don't have 45 seconds? Because you cover ground or it feels like forever.
Yeah.
Especially when you train. Did you guys train on the timer with the 5-minute bell and have like a 30-second bell?
No, we
too?
We did in at Oyama's. We did, remember? Because I can remember that thing, ding, 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 and then we would go fucking hard in the last 30. I remember that.
I don't remember that. He has a better memory than me. I just remember telling them to yell it to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know they had like a 10-second. They had a 10-second bell sometimes, but I don't remember those. Bells.
Funny, I was trying to think of this name the other day, Lyoto Machida, the Karate Man.
Oh, that was a tough training camp. That was a tough fight too. Yeah.
That was a win.
Yeah, that was a win. That was really close.
But I thought, what happened to Karate Man? Remember?
Yeah.
Did you fight him?
No, I trained with him, but I never fought him. Yeah.
He
Not for that fight.
Yeah.
Not for that fight.
he was doing karate.
Yeah, he was making it work.
He was making it work too. Like there wasn't a lot. Most guys were just MMA in it at that point. He was trying. He was Karate Man.
Yeah. That was a really tough training camp. I remember my team brought in this one karate guy. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name, but he was in
Ralph Macchio.
I don't know. He was in that movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in that movie, and he was my karate coach. But he would get mad when I was beating the karate guys. Because thing about MMA or martial arts, I think a lot of martial artists and martial art masters, they have a big ego. And so they want their martial art to do better than yours. So that was a really tough training camp just because he was bringing in karate guys so I could see how karate looked, and they were supposed to be really good, and I was fucking them up.
Yeah. Well, they're coming at you with front kicks, and you're just like stepping side and jabbing them and hitting them with hooks and
doing Muay Thai shit to them, and I was just fucking them up, taking them down and stuff.
Yeah.
And he would get mad, and I was like, look here, your karate works, but you know what I'm saying, it's just that, you know, I'm a mixed martial artist. Like, bro, chill out. Don't get And
Yeah,
my coach.
Well, Mix and Joe, you can find the Man Show bit where I was the karate instructor. Oh yeah, I was Sensei Adam.
You were sensei?
I'll show you the bit.
Oh, let's see it.
The thing about mixed martial arts is it is essentially evolved into the most effective way to beat a person in front of you That's really what it is. You can go, well, this guy does some Muay Thai, and that guy does some kickboxing, and this guy's a karate man, and that guy wrestled in college, and this guy did this and grappled, whatever, judo. But really what you're saying in mixed martial arts, because there's essentially no rules and no biting,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like saying you walk out in front of any bar on any street in America, and there's another human being standing in front of you without a weapon.
Yeah.
What is it that you would like to do? Well, you would like to beat this person and not be beaten by this person. So you go, well, how would we do this? And it would evolve into mixed martial arts. Like you enter the cage, that's it.
Yeah.
Could be Karate Man, could be John Jones,
Right.
could be Chuck Liddell. Everyone's got their own stuff. So that's your style. So if you go, I do this discipline of karate, or I do this discipline of this martial art, it may be good for someone who has no skills,
Right.
but it's limited to the discipline versus you're a Swiss Army knife. You're everything. You have to be everything.
Yeah.
So, of course, the everything is going to beat the discipline because you're keeping it. It's like saying, I like cars. A dragster is the best car for a quarter mile, but it's no good on a track with rights and lefts. And like a NASCAR is good for an oval, or an Indy car is good for an oval, but it's not as good as a sports car with a windy road. But this is the best car.
Yeah.
For all the roads.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. So you are going to beat the martial artist, I would think.
Yeah. If they're limited to just one martial art.
You're spec'd into a specific one. I could take it a step further because mixed martial arts it's algorithmic, basically. Every sport, whatever the rules are, you shave it down into the most effective techniques. Like, for instance, judo, you have the jacket, you're allowed to pull on it and throw it. Okay, so all these crazy techniques are gonna evolve out of that. Muay Thai, same thing. You're only allowed to kick, punch, knee, elbow the guy. The most effective techniques are gonna get shaved down in there.
Right.
Mixed martial arts, depending on the rules, because you say there's no rules, but there's
Yeah,
rules.
it's just- yeah,
Can't kick the
Well,
guy on the ground.
I
It
don't
change-
know rules, but
no, but it shifts.
Yeah.
Like, remember, because back in Japan, we fight and then we can get kicked on the ground.
we can
It's so different.
step a mud hole in motherfucker
Yeah,
ass.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knee to the head on the ground. That changes it. But still, like, the algorithm of the rules shapes the sport into whatever shape it is. And now we have the unified rules here in America where it's elbows on the ground, and then they reset this one.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a lot. Like, that was my move.
Yeah.
I would, back in the day, they outlawed my move.
elbow,
Back in the day,
hammer, elbow
No,
down.
that's-
12-6.
12-6,
I would
yeah.
just quickly get to the mount.
12 and 6 like a
throw
clock.
two of
Yeah.
those, and then the fight's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I agree, but I'm saying in the street, once the guy's on his back and covering up, you don't need to drop elbows. He's done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying mixed martial arts, UFC, it's basically you standing in front of somebody else and may the best man win, and you're going to have the best technique over a discipline. All right, we have Sensei Adams, a man show bit from a million years ago. You ever see this?
I saw it.
You studied karate, correct?
I kickboxed at the Jet Center. Remember
Benny the Jet
Benny the Jet, yeah.
Urquidez?
Do we
Legend.
remember?
Do
Come
you
on.
He's a
remember?
legend.
He's a legend. But you know, God, then there was Lily, the sister, and then there was the brother. Oh God, I'll think of the brother-in-law. Urquidez. He was, or maybe it was his brother. Oh, Blinky. Do you guys remember
no.
Blinky?
No.
Nah, we missed
He
that.
wasn't.
yeah.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it.
He didn't make it into ours.
Blinky Urquidez was there. There was a guy. There was like they had a lot of pro fighters out of there, and Benny was hanging out. It was in Van Nuys, and so then I went to
I think it's still there, by the way.
the Jet Center.
Yeah.
Benny the Jet Urquidez. Yeah,
You ever fight?
Golden Gloves,
Wow, boxing?
1984.
Is it
at
Golden
the-
Glove kickboxing?
No,
Oh,
no,
just boxing. Okay.
boxing.
No, I just trained. I trained in kickboxing, but I really did boxing at the Olympic Gym, also known as the Montoya Gym, also known as the Hope Street Gym, like back behind the Olympic Auditorium.
He's one of us. He's a martial artist.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys go to like really shitty gyms,
Yeah,
like
we have.
black black in the day. Back in the day, like, they did have a lot.
Wait.
Shitty
I'm
gym.
older than you guys. Yeah, with them black
Antonio
folks.
McKee's gym.
Oh, you went there. That's not a shitty gym.
They'd have signs like no spitting on the floor.
Oh man,
you know,
I hate those gyms. I hate those gyms where you walk in there and it smells like a jock strap.
And then like they have the bucket with the funnel at the top of the thing, and then but they haven't emptied it in a while.
I hate those gyms.
And then like
the Olympic gym had a folding table set up with containers that were like Sunny D bottles and orange juice bottles, all rinsed out with tap water in them, and it's just all set out. And so when the bell, everything was on the bell, you know, you get your 1 minute break. People just walk over to grab the Sunny D. People dumped it. You know, they didn't really touch it. You know, they did the dump and they set it back down. Like, no one even had their own. But then the guy go fill it up with the hose and put it back the next day.
Wow, how times have changed.
When you sparred, they would take the leather headgear off the dude who was wearing it before you and pull it right on your head and
cold,
cinch
wet.
it down wet. Because who could afford, you know, the headgear? It was expensive.
I couldn't do. I'm a germ freak. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I would never been a fighter if it was.
How could you do MMA and be a germ freak?
That's the thing. I think that's what made me more of a germ freak. Rolling around with Mayhem sweaty ass. He would never change his shirt. I used to always bring like 4 T-shirts with me and go to Mayhem. He got the same shirt on for 2 hours. Bro, you get some other man sweat in your mouth. You ever had another man sweat in your mouth?
It's
Carolla?
not in a non-sexual setting, but it is. Sure, there's the weekends, but not at the Jet Center. Is Blinky Urquidez still alive? And is he Benny's brother? And then there's a sister, Blinky Urquidez's brother-in-law. Okay, and then Lily, who was really tough. Kickboxing training was hard, man. Because there was a lot of stretching that was really uncomfortable, as I recall, right?
Yeah, I hated that part. That's why I could never hit kick.
Yeah, stretching it's all discipline, but you have to do it. And it's hard and doesn't feel good. And it's no fun. You want to hit the bag, skip the rope, you know, hit the speed bag, whatever.
I used to always be jealous of Mayhem, how flexible he was, until I found out that people that flexible are gay.
That's how it works.
We rolled a lot. You had your sweat in my mouth.
I know, it feels way too weird and intimate. And then you start bleeding. Then the person starts bleeding on you and sweating on you.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for a germ freak. That's why, I don't know if you guys noticed, I never throw a whole lot of elbows. I never try to cut my opponent. I don't want their blood on me.
Yeah. So, you're retired for good unless Jake Paul wants to take a run at you.
I actually never retired. I just had the worst fight of my life back in 2020, right before COVID. I had I had a health problem. Damn doctors misdiagnosed me with hypothyroidism, put me on some medicine that made me gain weight.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw you on the thing. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So when I got to Japan, I wasn't even that big. And one of my coaches said, "Oh, you got to carb up so you can have energy for your fight." I'm like, "Coach, I haven't been eating carbs because you know this thyroid issue. I'm trying to lose weight and get in shape. I haven't ate carbs in a couple months, and I stopped taking the medicine because Coach Cal told me he did he did a blood work on me and he looked at my thyroid. He said, "You don't have a thyroid problem. There's something wrong with your T3, and your medicine is keeping you from losing weight." So I stopped the medicine cold turkey. He said, "I wouldn't stop the medicine cold turkey," but I told him, "Man, this medicine is not helping me. It's hurting me, keeping me from losing weight. I'm not taking it." He said, "You maybe need to wean off," but I didn't listen to him. So when I got to Japan, one of my coaches told me to carb up, and I did, and I bloated.
Rebound.
In 3 days. I bloated, and I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice I looked. I didn't even notice I was that fat.
As soon as I saw you, I was like, it looked like somebody inflated you,
bro. It was really, it was really bad.
What were you fighting at? What weight?
I was fighting at heavyweight, but when I got to Japan, when I got there, I probably weighed like 250. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then by the time I fight, I bloated up to like 265, 260. It was the most embarrassing thing. And so that was my last fight. Right then,
was
COVID.
That Fabio?
No, that was
Maldonado.
No, that was Fedor. I fought Fedor.
Oh, Fedor.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
He knocked me the fuck out in like the first round.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Fedor,
In
2020.
Yeah. And
So
Bellator.
you guys about the same age?
I think he's a little older than you, right?
I don't
A
know.
year older?
I don't know. I know that we have daughters that was born on the same day.
Fedor seems like a nice enough guy.
He's the nicest guy ever. I love Fedor.
So Fedor is 48.
Yeah, he's older than me then. He's 2 years older than me then.
So he was like, 43, 44, whatever.
Yeah.
Fedor's the legend.
Yeah.
Pretty unbeatable. I mean, guys, I don't think guys are going to be able to do what he did anymore because everyone is so good. And by the time you get to a certain level, anyone can beat anyone on any given night. And there's going to be no more, this guy's 40-0, legend kind of dominance stuff. But he's probably one of the last guys. John Jones is kind of the current guy of that. But Fedor be the last guy that fought in different places, I mean, you talk to Benny Urquidez, he had like death matches in Thailand and stuff. Like, those days are probably gone. It's a little more regulated.
I'm gonna tell you,
right?
what's that guy name that just knocked out Max Holloway? Tapura.
Yeah, Ilya Topuria.
I think he has a good run to being like a John Jones, like an undefeated guy.
So could you feel it with Fedor when you got in there with him?
Feel what? I didn't feel shit.
No, not fear. I mean, feel that power, feel that whatever he has.
No, yeah, Fedor threw some hard leg kicks. But the punch he hit me with, I didn't see it, and I didn't feel it.
He has a technique where he like slings his, it's like a judo kind of. It translated from judo, where he's like throwing from his hip and slings it over top,
and it lands right behind your ear.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no chance if you don't stop it.
The danger.
I
zone.
was at the crazy fight where he fought the Russian guy with the beard.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Orlovsky.
Andre Orlovsky.
He's talking about the affliction
fights.
Yeah,
I was
Yeah,
there too.
I was there, and Andre came out strong, got Fedor sort of backed up,
Yeah.
and was just going for the kill
You go flying knee
with a flying knee, and he knocked him out mid-flight.
I had like the worst angle. I was like, what the hell happened? It looked like he just jumped up and fell right down. But then you see the reverse angle and he hit him with a nice clean one. Yeah.
You rarely see the mid-flight knockout that way, especially when a guy's on his heels and you think he's just going to try to survive the round, basically. And I don't know, did a young John Jones fight on that card?
No. John Jones went. He went to the UFC pretty early on in his career, right? He did like a few, pro.
That wasn't a UFC.
No, that was
fight.
an affliction.
Yeah, because they were in a ring.
Yeah. You know what shocked me when Dan Henderson knocked out Fedor? He was the first one to knock out Fedor, huh?
He hit him with the crazy overhand, right? Yeah.
No. It was uppercut from on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and Dan Henderson was so much smaller than Fedor. We never saw that coming.
He was just fast, for that size. The guy, he gave up some speed to Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
That was and strength. Henderson's really strong
He's
for
really
his
strong.
size,
And that was the first time Fedor got knocked out that we seen, right?
I know it made him finally look mortal.
Yeah.
I got some thoughts on some stuff. I don't know if you guys saw this. There's an LA, we're doing the street takeover stuff where everyone just gets in the intersection, does donuts and stolen cars.
Oh, yeah.
And people get run over all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of bound to happen. Now somebody sent me a tweet where the guy's doing donuts and above him is a drone that's firing fireworks down onto the car. Have you seen this?
I didn't see that.
This is crazy, but it's also one of those LA, you ever see, sometimes people tweet me, film of Los Angeles, 1946, and they just go all the way down Sunset Boulevard, and there's a bunch of people dressed in suits and ties. Everything's clean. There's no graffiti. There's no nothing. There's no garbage anywhere. There's no homeless. It's just a fucking civil society. I would like to show those people this video and go, this is what we've devolved into.
I'm from the future.
I'm from the future.
What the fuck?
Now I don't know how this drone works, but the drone is flying 20 feet above the cars doing the donuts, and it's firing fireworks onto the car, and there's a bunch of people hanging out the car. Well, there are always people hanging out
That's
the
some
car.
SA engineering right there. You strap on the firework onto the drone and then set it off, Holmes.
Well, listen, Holmes. Look, they love the essays. They love their fireworks. There's no doubt about it. But do you buy a standard drone? You can't buy a fireworks drone.
No.
You have to
Not
just
yet.
buy a drone,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then
Duct tape.
Duct tape works.
Yeah.
But then you also have to light it with a long fuse on the ground.
No, you just get brave. I mean, look, my people, the redneck engineers, we'll get right in there with some fireworks and go.
No. I'm saying you want to delay on the fuse because you want to get airborne and get acclimated. You want to buy yourself like 20 seconds of getting airborne. You don't want it firing on the ground. Is what I'm saying.
Don't waste any fireworks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Joe. Look into this. Like, how does this? I don't even know, because that's not a flower, and it's not an M80, and it's not a Piccolo Pete. It's
that's
not
a straight Tijuana firework right there. That's like something legitimate.
You ever go to Tijuana and get fireworks?
Hell yeah.
Me too.
I've never seen anything like that. I didn't know drones could do that.
Did you? Well, they can't. You got to tape fireworks to it.
Now, I don't think that was taped to it, was it?
Yeah, it has to be.
Listen,
No, somebody engineered that.
maybe zip tied.
Yeah, zip tie would
Zip
probably
tie
be
and
better.
tape will take care about anything.
I don't know. That looked engineered. 'Cause it waited till they started doing the donuts. Before,
Well, that's
that was
my
the fuse.
delay.
That
That's
was
my
the fuse.
delayed fuse thing.
Yeah.
You know how to make a delayed fuse?
I don't know how to make shit.
Ma'am, you know how to make a delayed fuse?
Well, I mean, I figured just the longer the fuse,
No,
tie
you
a knot.
take the fuse and untwist it and knock the gunpowder and the sulfur out of the fuse.
I see. So it'll
Because
slowly
it
go.
slowly burns like a cigarette. You put the sulfur and the gunpowder in it, goes.
I see.
That's how it works. As you make the delay by undoing it, sort of like making a joint out of a cigarette.
Yeah.
You
How
know what I
you
mean?
learn how to do all this?
We didn't have anything to do when I was a kid. We had no video games. We had no air conditioning. We had nothing. So everything was make your own fun. And we'd make Polish cannons, what people call potato cannons. You guys ever build potato cannons or Polish cannons?
I have,
Everything. When you have no video games and no outlet and no air conditioning and no nothing, you got to resort to wrestling and fire. You have to light stuff on fire. You have to blow stuff
you're
up
right,
and
yeah.
light stuff on fire. That's all we would do. And we would get stuff from Tijuana. People would bring back stuff from Tijuana, and then we'd get hold of it, and then we'd start fucking around with it. But that was our entertainment. We didn't really have other entertainment.
How easy was it to go to Tijuana when you was coming up?
I went to Tijuana for the first time when I was about 16 and a half. And we went there with a dude, who had a car that could make it there. It was about with not so much traffic back in the day. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes you could get there. You would park at the border. You would walk across the border because you want to leave your car on the American side. Take a cab. Cab would take you down to Revolution Street, which is like the main drag. You would go to a bar that was off the main drag so you could get drinks for like a quarter or 50 cents or something. You'd get drunk, then you'd buy a bottle of booze, and then you'd sneak it into the strip club, which was on Revolution down. They're all underground sort of basement things. And then you would sit in the back of the strip club and you order Cokes. Then you dump booze into the Coke from under your table until you got discovered. And
The Carolla travel guide.
my friend Tom hooked up with one of the ladies to go back upstairs for some, so she could make some extra money.
Right.
And we were back there, and he went upstairs with her, and about the time he went upstairs with her, we got caught dumping the bottle, and, they got their own form of justice over there, And so we got literally chased out and then chased down the street, and we ditched a guy. But our friend Tom was still in there upstairs with one of the ladies, and we couldn't leave because he didn't know where we were. So we had to stay some weird distance away because the guy was standing in front on the sidewalk. Going, where are those kids? And so we had to stand far enough away where he didn't get us, but not so far away that when Tom staggered out of the place with a boner, we could find him again. But that's what we used to do in Tijuana.
Man, that sounds like fun. Going to Tijuana, getting fucked up and getting chased. God damn.
The thing about Tijuana, look, is it was pretty lawless, which is good and bad. It's good if you want to do whatever you want. It's bad that you can get robbed while you're doing whatever it is you want. I slept on the beach in Tijuana.
Wow.
We literally would just bring a blanket from our bed, and when we were done partying, just go to the beach and just put the blanket on the sand and just go to bed.
Nobody fucked with you.
I woke up. There were dogs, walking, like dogs that walk sideways.
Yeah.
They had a lot of sideways walking dogs. Bigger sideways walking dogs, sort of walking around me, which I didn't, I didn't enjoy.
Sleeping on our beaches.
No,
Get out of our country.
No, we used to go to Baja and do the same thing. Like I don't know. Like I said, what do we care? Like what we have to lose? We didn't have anything, so who cares? I mean, you couldn't rob me. There wasn't anything.
Let's get practice.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are firework drones. You used to
Nice.
combine fireworks and drone shows.
I told you that was engineered. Yeah.
All right.
What does
right.
a firework drone look like?
How much does it cost?
No, this is something different. I think they have a video.
There are drone shows.
No, last night there was one at the Grove. It was like a crazy holiday
But these
experience.
are firework
Oh,
drones.
wow. You're right. Look at that fire.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys are underestimating the times that we're living in with technology and shit, man.
You're right.
I'm just wondering, you got to have a license from the ATF or
I was
something
gonna say.
to buy. You can't go to Amazon and buy a fireworks drone, right?
Probably not.
I mean, I can.
They put restrictions on it. They started putting restrictions on it because drones, people started doing crazy shit with drones, spying on people and stuff.
Flamethrower drone?
Yeah, you got to get a license to fly some of them now. They go a certain height.
You're right.
And the military in
FAA.
Ukraine and everything is using the shit out of the drones. Did you guys see this footage of this drone that's trying to shoot some Russian guys? I don't know if they're Ukrainian or Russian or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guys are trying to shoot it, but they can't shoot it because it's with. And the one guy just whacks it with his gun.
Yeah.
Did you see
I
that?
didn't see that one.
I saw that one too, yeah.
Oh, it's a crazy vid from probably. I saw it about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, where there's these two soldiers just out in the open in a drone, because that's how we're going.
I know.
Right.
We're going to get hit by a drone, right?
Swarms.
They're all getting hit by these drones, and they're swinging. They're trying to shoot it, but it's like I said, it's like if you were being attacked by a crow, you couldn't really shoot it. You know what I mean?
I
Right.
think
Yeah.
a shotgun.
Shotgun, yeah.
Shotgun
Maybe,
would handle
yeah.
These
it.
guys didn't have shotguns,
Yeah.
and the drone is coming at it, and eventually a guy threw his rifle at it and whacked the drone. we have it. It's
Easier
kinda,
that way, yeah.
It's kind of nuts. So the drone in the street takeover is either somebody getting their hands on a drone that shoots fireworks or just a resourceful essay shooting with duct tape and zip
Python
ties.
engineering.
Hear me out. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah.
One of them motherfuckers work on a movie set.
I don't know about
What? Why they can't work on a movie set?
Maybe you're
Why
right.
they can't work on a movie set?
But I'm saying, how many drone operators
That's a
are
lot.
going to street takeovers?
But they still got a life. They probably cool motherfuckers. Like, fuck this. Yeah, my Holmes.
I know.
He's doing a street takeover. Holmes. I work on the movie set. I got the drone. I fly the drones.
Somehow
we're gonna be.
that's
We're gonna
offensive.
film it. It's gonna be legit. They said. Come on, bro.
All right, we at the vid of that? I'm sorry. Do you have that one, Emmy?
We're scrubbing through it right now. It's one of those summarized videos.
Hey, did y'all see?
Oh, it is?
I saw this guy talking maybe a year ago on TikTok. Was talking about they already have drones that they can pilot that has like a bullet that can come and just shoot you in the head.
Yeah, I figured as much.
They already have those military
Listen,
drones.
everything that starts off is something like new technology eventually either turns into a weapon or porn.
Yeah.
That's how the way we roll as a society.
Yeah.
Like we see something and we go, somebody invented a robot. And we go, okay, so either we got to use the robot to kill somebody or we got to fuck the robot.
Fight or fuck.
Those
Fight or
are our
fuck.
two things. All the new technology, it always starts off as something and then it just turns into fight or fuck.
Okay, I got a question then. What if you come home and your wife is fucking your robot? Would you consider that cheating? Or you be like,
Well, so she's having a lesbian affair?
No. She put a strap on that motherfucker. It's going pound town like this. Be honest answer. I'll be honest. Like,
She's being pegged by my robot?
yeah, your robot is fucking your wife.
I would beat the shit out of my robot.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely take the batteries out and take it with me, when I left for work. That would be an interesting conversation to have,
like, babe, what are you doing fucking this robot, babe? What the fuck? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, there would have to be some self-reflection, I think, when you walked in on it.
Matilda 1000, how can you do this to me?
It'd be an interesting conversation to have in couples therapy. You know what I mean? Like they go, is it a money issue? No, it's a little more nuanced than that. Is it an issue like she wants to vacation in Hawaii and you want to go to Mexico? No, it's just a different situation.
I'd be doing the craziest threesome with my Roomba.
Oh my God.
We got a video of this. I don't think it's the one I saw, but we'll see. Oh yeah.
Oh,
they blew up one guy.
dude, this is gnarly. Like, this is what's going on right now.
They're just blowing up people with drones. But no, this is not.
Apparently, that last one, he headbutted the drone.
Oh, he headbutted? No. But I would have said headbutted the drone if that was the.
Oh,
No,
footage.
this is another video.
All right, but what I'm saying is this is two guys and they're swinging, and the guy hits it with a rifle. So, and it's its own clip. So you'll find it somewhere else because I don't want to see.
dude,
Guys,
just
guys
vaporized.
just
No,
vaporized.
yeah.
You can find the video I'm looking for, Emmy, and you can pause this one. Well, there's also budget fireworks taped to a drone,
Yep.
which we have vids of too. So I want to know what that looks like. But yeah, my whole thing with the sex robot is I didn't really contemplate the sex robot having an affair with the old lady.
Yeah.
With the strap on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about stuff like that because
Well, you have to.
you have to because by the time I get married again, robots are already coming out and stuff, and what if I walk in on my wife getting fucked by my robot?
Well, look,
I'm a cuss Elon Musk ass out.
either the robot's going to fuck your wife or try to kill you. That's what we've established because it's either porn or death.
You're right.
That's what we do with technology. All right, this is a vid of a fireworks drone.
Sick. See, it's easy, guys. Now this is what I was
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah, he's got, what do they call those?
Quadcopter.
No, I'm talking about the fireworks.
I forgot what you called it. The Roman sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
The
you
Roman
can hold-
candles.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can rock back and forth. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's on.
It's on, yeah.
But how do you light them? You still got to light them on the.
I'm a brave
light 'em
man.
on the ground.
I'll get right in the face of that thing. I'm
But
down.
that's not one operating. I mean, one firing. There must be the nighttime version of this where they fire the shit. Oh, this is the vid I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Two dudes, drone. They're shooting at the drone.
Oh shit! He's trying to get him to shoot his friend. He's trying to get friendly fire.
The drone is circling around these guys. I don't know why we need to add dramatic music to everything. This is dramatic
This is
enough.
dramatic, yeah.
The drone is buzzing them. They're shooting at the drone.
Wow.
Oh, you think he still got hurt from that?
Yeah, for sure.
I would
Something.
argue at
Shrapnel.
least a little concussive, whatever, from his ear. That was crazy, right?
Yes.
He threw his rifle, hit the thing.
Wow. But
Wow.
he saved his life. Like, he really did, because that thing was going to explode right on him.
Now, it's got to be funny because the dude blew it up, threw his rifle out, got a little shrapnel in the shoulder, and he's deaf in one ear. But I guarantee some point 6 months from now, those two dudes are sitting at a bar, and the check comes, and the guy threw the rifle, looks at the other guy and goes, "You gonna pick this up?" He goes, "Well, we can split it. We're gonna split it. Yeah, well, it's just 2 checks. I had 1 Heineken, you had 2 Heineken, so let's." And it's like, dude, I threw my gun. I saved you.
I saved your ass, bro.
So maybe vid of the homemade the homemade one, because what we just looked at was the Roman candle, whatever, that shoots the fireballs, light, put on the thing, and you could rock it back and forth. But now someone's gonna have to light it and get it airborne.
But who's going to do that? Because it's going to fuck up your drone, though. Your drone going to look stupid and have burn marks and stuff on it.
Yeah, but drones are like disposable now. Like they don't really even
It's like
cost
$200.
They don't cost anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. It's also crazy what they get when they put the cameras on it. Like, I was watching the F1 race out of Vegas, and they did the drone, and they brought it down over the course, and it was 20 feet off the ground, and all the cars were going under it. Like, shots you could never get. You couldn't get it with a helicopter back in the day. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right, shall we take a break and do a little news over here?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. We'll take a break. Din and Mayhem Miller, two of the most pedestrian last names with the greatest first names put together. I should say there's a F3 energy drink. I was just talking about F1. That's Rampage's company. And where do we go to sample this energy drink?
Well, you can go to f3energy.com, and Amazon should have some more left in stock.
What's good about it?
Well, the best thing about this energy drink is a healthier version for energy. And the caffeine is made from green tea extract. So you don't get all jittery and stuff like that. And it tastes, for a healthy drink, it tastes great.
I had some of Mayhem's Manuka honey yesterday, by the way. So we got all kinds of stuff going on in this room. So go to f3energy.com or Amazon.
Or Amazon.
All right. We got some news.
Conor McGregor breaks his silence after the sexual assault trial lost. He says, "I should have shut the party down." Yeah. It's a wild one if you've been following this. Conor McGregor, he lost this case on Friday, found liable after a jury in Dublin, Ireland, determined he sexually assaulted Nikita Han in a hotel penthouse over a night of heavy partying. The long and short of it is everybody was doing drugs and getting wasted. And she did not like what happened at that party. And even though there was no criminal culpability, there was a civil case and he got found liable. And they awarded Han $257,000 for this.
That's not a lot by these kinds of standards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That just doesn't feel like that much.
He expressed regret, but not to the victim, to his wife. He 6 years ago, I should have never responded to the outreaches. I should have shut the party down. I should have never stepped out on the woman I love most in the world. That's on me. As much as I regret it, everything that happened that night was consensual, he says, and all witnesses present swore to that under oath. I have instructed my legal team to appeal the decision. I can't go back and I'll move forward. I am beyond grateful to my family, friends, and supporters all over the world who have stayed by my side. That's it. No more. Getting back to the gym. The fight game awaits.
What do you guys think? Like, on one hand, women do not like it when the guy steps out, right?
Right.
But they're more tolerant of it from a societal standpoint. Like, for instance, we do have a little bit of a double standard. Like, nobody likes to think about their woman with another man. Women historically are can look the other way. The physical part isn't what it is for us, right?
Right.
So you don't like it, but you can kind of get your mind around it. Someone's being physical with your man and your man's being physical with someone else. But in return, you're probably going to get your way for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shopping sprees is depending on how successful your man is. But this is my look on. This is my look.
But I'm saying even the little stuff, like she goes, let's go out to dinner tonight. I'm in the mood for Mexican. And you go, I was kind of thinking about Italian. And they go, really? Really want to start arguing about something? And I go, no.
From a drone attack.
Yeah, let's do Mexican. You're right, hon. Let's do Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is, you're going to get your way for, I would say, 2 to 7 years. Right?
He has a good point.
He does, yeah.
And all your guy did was fuck some chick one night. He don't even remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a good trade-off.
Yeah, he has a point. But what he said is women a little bit, they look the other way more than men. So hear me out. Think about it. Most relationships, who's like doing most of the providing? The man, right? And, he's doing most of the providing. Say even if you go 50-50, a lot of women don't like going 50-50. So say you're in a relationship with your wife and you're paying all the bills and you're doing all this stuff. Excuse me. And she goes smash somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very frowned upon.
But just society-wise, like if your girl steps out, there's a weird thing where, like, you, like, I don't know, want to cut her off like that. But the other way, they can kind of,
They look the other way a lot of time because, like, they be like, oh, now I got to go find another man that's going to provide and take care of me, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start all over. And a lot of women know that. And he might cheat on me as well, so I might as well stay here to father my kids. But when a woman cheat on a man, first thing I'm thinking, like, how can she do that? I took care of her. I pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why. I think that's the difference there.
Yeah.
I think what we've all determined is it's kind of okay for us to cheat.
It's kind of
It's a real problem if they start fucking stepping out on us. Is that what can we agree on that?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Let's take a vote. It's just left hand.
I agree.
Thinks?
Oh,
Emmy,
he said
you good?
left?
Joe?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all right. It's settled. It's settled. We've arrived at a conclusion.
Yeah, because if you step out on your woman, God forbid, you get another woman pregnant, that baby is going to stay over there. You're going to take care of it, but it's not in your house. But your wife or your woman, y'all live together, she steps out on you and she gets pregnant. Now you raising another man's child. He's living in your house. And that's what the big thing is. That's where the double standard come in. Like, yeah, okay, you cheated, but now I ain't finna raise this baby.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Man, you took it to a
Hold on. Let's take a vote.
No,
Is Rampage wrong? No.
No,
we all
no.
say no.
No, all right, thank you,
Everyone
guys.
says no. We
Thank
take a
you.
vote.
Thank you.
All right. What else we got?
Hey, look, latest in the...
Also, listen, you marry a guy who's, and that covers you guys too. Mixed martial arts guy, makes his living in a cage, multi-millionaire in Connor's situation for sure. There's things that come along with that. You could marry a guy who drives a UPS truck.
Yeah.
You could, but other things, not so many perks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And also, when the rich guy gets caught cheating, you can go on a shopping spree.
Yeah.
Right.
If my mom caught my dad cheating, she still couldn't go on a shopping spree because he didn't have any fucking money. You know what I mean?
Maybe Walmart. Just
go
tone it
to
down.
Walmart, go to the kids section, get yourself for something under $9. There's nothing to get, so at least when the rich guy gets caught, you can go out and spend.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, a grandma of 12 breaks the world record by doing 1,575 push-ups in an hour.
Wow, that's a lot.
Had to fight back happy tears, yeah.
How was the grandma?
Canadian grandmother, Donna Jean Wild.
Is
with an
she
E,
doing
59.
She looks like she could do some push-ups.
She definitely looks like
Is
a
she
CrossFit
doing
chick.
girl push-ups or regular push-ups?
No, regular push-ups.
Regular
breaking
push-ups.
the plane 90 degrees. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
My message is to be a believer. Choose to believe in yourself and others. Plan to attack each day and to be on the offensive side of the game. Make time to do the things that you love so you can make things happen and write your own story.
I like to make things happen with that granny.
Yeah, I would never cheat on this granny.
I would never cheat on that granny.
She sounded like Kamala Harris there. You gotta make time to take time to believe and achieve. You gotta believe in yourself. You have to believe in others and believe in people who haven't been born yet. Okay, listen. First off, you're supposed to do the things you love. I hate doing push-ups. Push-ups there's certain things I just hate, and push-ups they're hateful. Right? I just
kind of.
They do suck, though.
Yeah.
They suck. So doing what I love would not be a push-up. It would be eating pizza and watching TV for countless hours and drinking beer. So that would, if I chased my love, it would be the opposite of a push-up. Number one. Number two, she got to go down a little further. She's a little high on that push-up. Now I don't know that your nose needs to touch the carpet. But you got to have, if we're going to do this as an official record, you guys tell me you've been in the gym a lot. I've been in the gym a lot too. We need to have like a foam brick that is 4 inches off the ground. It's a regulated thing. You put it down, and your nose must make contact with it in order to count as official push-up, because otherwise, if she's going down and her granny nose is 10 inches above the ground, is that an actual push-up?
He has a point.
You guys have had some hard-ass coaches, right?
Yeah.
They would be standing next to you going all the way down, all the way, right?
Right. He has a point.
Yeah.
All right. Good posture, but come on.
Really? You're going to take this away from her? Are you going to slap her Guinness record right out of her hands?
No, I'm going to say in 1 hour, instead of 1,500 and change, she'd be like 1,100 and change if she did the motion of the next 5 to 7 inches down and then up again. It would affect the record. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with him. Who's standing there regulating that? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, go down.
I think it was Guinness himself was there.
Oh, okay.
We have the homemade fireworks drone.
Hell yeah!
Now
Let's get back to it,
We have
baby.
that clip, which is important for me. Yeah. Oh, it is so on now. Wow.
Nice.
So that guy fired it on the ground.
Oh yeah, it's kind of just pissing though.
Yeah, it's not firing like it should
No,
fire.
because they're not. That's not the Tijuana fireworks. That's some local fireworks.
Tijuana, you can go to Tijuana and buy enough shit to blow up a federal building.
Yes.
They do not cap anything. You can get M200s, M80s. This guy just fired a bottle rocket from
That's cool.
from his drone.
Yeah, how you do that? It was already in the sky.
This
Here we go.
This is
This
awesome.
looks heavy duty.
Yeah, but how do they
Nice.
have to light them on the ground?
Yeah.
Ow. You all right? Yeah.
I do love when people fuck themselves up with fireworks. This guy lit it on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, he's going over a fountain or Piccolo Pete. I don't know. What was the best? The flower?
The flower.
Yeah.
The flower, when you can stop it. When the day I found out a flower still burned if you threw it in a swimming pool, that's the day I came alive, man. That flowers are still go.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure. You guys ever thrown...
Yeah, once the reaction starts, it doesn't need oxygen to keep going. Yeah.
You can throw it in a lake and it'll still be going.
I had no idea. I stopped dealing with fireworks once I moved to California. It's not the same like back home.
I know.
Yeah, they restrict a lot. It's like a lot of.
Oh,
stuff
there
is
would be
illegal.
fireworks stands where you're from, right?
Well, we had to go right across the bridge to Arkansas, but to get them. But it was good fireworks here. You can't have firecrackers. You can't have.
Well, I mean, you think about it. It never rains here, so everything is just dry kindling. It's like ready to go. The whole place was set on fire.
All right, hold on. Put something on me. Dr. Drew, you have something to say?
I do. I just wanted to. I'm sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I just
We're
wanted
talking about drones. This better be good.
I know. But I want to express that I've seen Mayhem's performance here lately, and I've been so delighted to have him. But I've been feeling like weirdly jealous. He's my friend. He's not your friend. He's my friend.
All right.
You understand? This guy belongs to me. You get it?
All right, Drew. Did
Sorry
you
for
need to
cheating on
interrupt
you,
our
Drew.
hot firework talk for that?
I needed to. I
You
just
like
felt I
Mayhem.
had to get in here on this. So thank
Everyone
you for
loves
that.
mayhem. All right.
God bless you.
Got a couple more stories here. Don't worry
I
about
got the
Drew.
love line guys fighting over me.
Yeah, he's mine, I tell you.
Hey, next up, Florida deputy who used a taser on suspect pumping gas, burning 75% of his body, is cleared of criminal charges. Yeah, he got found not guilty.
I heard about this
This
one.
is a crazy one. Yeah. Oh, here we go. I didn't even get to see this video. Please play the video.
The guy's pumping gas.
Yeah, he's pumping gas.
And the cop tases him.
Yeah, so they gave him like a rough arrest, knocked his bike over. There's gas flowing all over the place. The deputy said turn the gas pump off, but look, he's all covered in gas right now. Tased him. Man, that
is a
crazy.
freakish
Those guys
thing.
are idiots.
Yeah.
What was the guy doing? Stealing gas? Why they fucking at the gas pump?
He was alleged to You're doing wheelies and running red lights on the bike. And then, they freaking set him on fire.
Oh, wow.
But the jury found him not guilty. So it was a strange thing where, because I guess it was blurry. I didn't see the whole trial, but it was kind of blurry that who fired the taser. The prosecutors in the case said that Crawford, this cop, raised the taser, fired the weapon, and ignited him. But I guess his defense was that he didn't even set the taser on him. He threw the taser to the side.
Oh, and it went off?
And it went off. Yeah. He tossed it. He said that he was asked that if you remember the taser going off in his hand, well, after he tossed it, the deputy simply replied, I have no memory of turning the safety off. So during this scuffle, his taser flew to the side and lit the whole place on fire.
Well, he turned the safety off because he was going to use it.
Yes.
And then who knows what. I don't know. Does this fall under act of God? When shit's almost like getting hit by lightning?
I don't think so. I mean, because if you mix gas and a taser, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. And God, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I think it was the police that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But, so he got found not guilty, but there's still going to be a civil trial. The guy got third-degree burns all over 75% of his body, $7 million of medical expenses.
Wow.
Yeah.
He still can sue, though, right?
He
can sue the
still
city.
Sue, yeah. But he almost killed this guy, setting him on fire.
So the guy was on a dirt bike doing wheelies and brodies and
exactly. It was one of those things. I think there was a bunch of kids out there getting wild on the bikes, and this freaking thing happened. It's a nightmare.
So he's in trouble for having fun.
Kinda, yeah.
Well, you ever see that doc 12 O'Clock Boys? It's really good. It's Baltimore, inner city, all the guys who ride all the dirt bikes, they do the street takeovers. Cops can't really do anything because if the cops chase them, then they get into an accident. Then they blame the cops for chasing them. But I've seen it in Chicago. I've seen it in San Francisco. I've seen it in Malibu on PCH. I've seen whole gangs of mini bike riders, 75 guys on mini bikes. It's like a mini bike takeover. It basically is a signal like the street takeover that we're just lawless. Now we're just doing what we want. So it's like the smash and grab. Like back in the day, I used to shoplift. I knew people who shoplift. Everyone shoplifted, but we didn't do it out in the open.
No,
I didn't show up with a duffel bag and calmly walk from one aisle to the next, just filling stuff up and walking past the security guard on my way out. You had to stuff shit in your pants, put stuff under your hat. You know what I mean? You had to shoplift. There was a whole There's a whole technique to it. You didn't walk out in front of everybody.
You're sad for the self-respecting criminal. You have to go through the motions instead of just smash and grab.
Yeah, there was a majesty and a finesse and a dignity. Yeah. When I used to steal whole turkey legs from the back of the Gelsons in the deli, you'd get the whole turkey leg in the back, and then you'd pay for it in the front. Well, I'd have an army jacket, and I'd get the whole thing.
This guy's walking out with a jacket full of chicken legs.
Being attacked by birds when I'm walking through the parking lot. I had to pretend like I was there looking, Price and Trey, how much are these Triscuits? I didn't just hold the turkey leg over my head and go fucking walk out the front door telling everyone to blow
the
me.
problem's not so much with the criminality, it's with the wanton recklessness of it.
No respect for what we used to have to go for. I had a hat. I used to put the candy bar in my hat and then put the hat on and walk out of the 7-Eleven. I didn't just hold a handful of it and go walking out in front of the guy.
But there wasn't as many cameras back then for you. Like now, they don't care. They just but back then you could do that. But now the cameras would catch you.
In 12 O'Clock Boys, these guys in Baltimore, it's a good doc. The cops roll up. At a certain point, the guys are on their 250 Hondas, 125 Yamahas, doing wheelies around the cop cars.
Yeah.
And then at some point, they dip in and start kicking in the side of the door of the cop car. And it's like, listen,
the disrespect.
When the cops show up, you're supposed to run.
Yeah.
Not do wheelies around them and kick in the door. It's fucking nuts
What
now.
do you think's changed? What makes people like that now?
We have basically said a couple things. The cops cannot put their hands on you. We're going to sue the cops. In this doc, there was one instance where a cop chased one of the guys. And one of the guys was like a less experienced 12 o'clock boy. And he was on, first off, the motorcycle they stole. It's not like they went down to the Honda dealership and bought that. They stole the motorcycle. They're doing wheelies. They're on four-wheelers and quads and three-wheelers. They're just taking over the whole town. But at some point, the cop chased a less experienced guy who's up on the sidewalk, cutting through the alley, going through the intersection, and at some point, a car backs out. He clips the car, and the guy dies. The whole city turns on the cop.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're riding in the street, they want the cop's badge and all that kind of shit. And it's like, all right, well, now we know who's in charge, and it ain't the cops. The cops are going to get into trouble if they do anything. I mean, first, it starts with bad politicians and bad DAs and bad everything. And then at some point, cops don't even want to get out of their car anymore. Why would you even try at this point?
Yeah.
It's not even worth it. Just stay in your car. So anyway, here we are. Lawless. Sodom and Gomorrah. Street takeovers. I think I'm trying to break it down by race. I think we got the street takeover, Brody and the intersection guys. Those are the Hispanic guys in L.A., right?
It does look pretty fun.
It does look fun. The mini bike guys are the Hispanic guys.
Are they?
Yeah, weirdly.
ATV and dirt bike dudes.
Those are black
guys.
Those are black guys. Whitey, I think we got some outliers. Trucks.
We like to take the trucks and we'll just go and mud around the local.
Yeah. We do
That's
we do
fun.
four wheels.
Fun as hell.
That's
fun.
Yeah.